Okay. Hello, people. How are you? All right. I still don't have the chat, though, but I do have an image. That's good. It's just a matter of turning the camera on. I thought it was on from the backside, but it wasn't on. And I'm hoping the chat should be coming up. It always does that to me. I go on these lives, and it always takes a little bit of time to boot up the chat. But I'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to you. Ask about your how your day went, maybe how your Thanksgiving went, and all that good small talk. We just can't wait to indulge in here. But so anyway, this is it. I thought this would be a perfect little get together. This is our get together. This will be our Thanksgiving right here. All right. I mean, gosh, I know we don't have a bunch of food all around the table. We don't have all the fixings, but our food is food for thought. How's that sound? Okay, food for thought is our food here. Okay, being that that's the best thing we can do right about now. Just have a little bit of just to function around, just hang out a bit, and yeah. So we have. It says I have two viewers. Okay, so somebody else joined down in. I'm hoping some others will get some notifications soon, and we'll all have some. And we can all have a little bit of something going on here. As soon as I get the chat going here, top chat, top fan. Where are we? Why on? Turn on. Where are we? Oh no, that's not it. Still looking to see if I can get a chat go here. So, no, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, why? Unless it's down here somewhere. So, people, how was everybody doing there? Anyway, as soon as I get this, for some reason, that's not at the time coming up. Send feedback, pop up reactions. Why do I not have a screen yet? I don't know. Okay, I still don't quite have you. I'm trying to find that right now at the time. But okay, I'm sure it's gonna it just happens. It just pops up eventually. This whole chat. But I'd love to hear from you, like we do before. You do your little chat thing, and I get to see who's out there and all that. So as soon as that comes up, we'll do that. Yeah. But it's always the same thing. It's always the same. So anyway, I went to my brother's house for Thanksgiving. I tell you a little bit about mine, and had it all planned out. But funny thing is, I maybe it's just me. You know how sometimes, you'll never get the truth from anybody. Let's say you have a certain gut feeling in yourself. You have a certain intuition going on, and you get in the vibe of the room. You walk in, and it's your family, it's your nephew, your brother's there, your grandkids, things like that. But my brother's. I hope they're not watching, but sometimes I tell you, sometimes you get that little bit of an uncertain feeling, like an uneasy feeling that somebody's just not, like they're not quite cool with you being there. Like you get this little vibe, this little gut that, oh, look at why'd he show up kind of thing. Why is he here? I don't know. But like I said, is it me? But then, nobody'd ever tell you the truth. If you said, gee, this is what I'm thinking, like, oh, come on, of course not. We love you. We love you to be here. The smile's going. Nobody will ever tell you the truth. But you know what your heart's telling you. You know what your gut's telling you. What you're reading, what you're feeling, what you're picking up. And sometimes that's what happens in these situations. You're always just feeling these energies in the room. And sometimes, like I said, you're thinking certain ones, like, the nephews are cool with it, but sometimes it's like the older ones. It's like you wonder why. Sometimes I'm like, why did I even show up? I feel so odd. I feel so out of place here sometimes. But you try to make do. You just roll with it. But, the whole time you're kind of tiptoeing around saying, am I really welcome here? It's like, I really think that's the way it is. Okay, you got 4 viewers coming on in. I still don't have my chat for some reason. I'm trying to get chat going here. Live chat. For some reason, I don't know why it's not giving me that. Okay, trying to get that on here. And so, but anyway, that's how my day went. And so I just I dealt with it, and we had a decent time here. For some reason, why is it not coming up? Why do I not have it? Reactions, pop-up chart. Where are we? Oh, no, that's not where I want that. Restore chat. Yeah, I'm trying to get a chat going here. All right. Usually it took a little bit of time to get it going here. People, please do forgive me. For some reason, I'm trying to find question. Oh, Q&A. Questions and answers. Oh, no, that's not it. I'm trying to find a. Good gosh, why does it not do this for me? Please forgive me, people. Like I said, I'm trying to get this up and running. You know, now last time I did this, I had a chat going for some reason. Now it just doesn't give it to me. I mean, I can't even get any feedback from you right now. So, but yeah, that's basically it. I'm glad y'all showed up, people. Now, currently with the channel's going great, and I'm so glad you're here. I see 4 of you here, and whoever you are, thank you for being part of this audience, being part of our channel. You are the channel. Like again, I don't think you're just part of it, and you are in it. You are all together in this, and you make this channel work. You really do. Your support is what's doing this. So I just want you to always know that's what I look forward to, is the support that I get here. And but oh, hey, I got somebody. Cam, is it okay I just call you Cam? Camarillo Rodriguez? Yes, Cam. I'm going to call you Cam. Hello, Cam. Okay, I got it. I just got a chat going. Hey, all right. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Yes, I did. Thank you, Cam. I got a chat going. It took a little bit of time to start to pop in. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. That's what I was looking for. I wanted a little bit of feedback. But yes, I did have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you did as well. Cam is perfect. All right. All right. Nice to hear from you, Cam. Awesome. So if that's great. Well, anyway, this is our Thanksgiving. Like I said, I could pretend to pass over the gravy, pass over the stuff and through the phone. But I don't want to get corny, though, you know. Hey, no pun intended, corny, right? I'm sorry. My sense of humor is just... I don't show a lot of the sense of humor on the shorts. I probably should. I mean, I try to sometimes. I try to put a little humor in there, but usually I'm trying to give a message across. But usually been waiting for all month for this live. Oh, well, thank you. So have I. Thank you. So have I. That's awesome. I'm glad you showed up. I mean, the last one we had was very. It got very touching. It got very close. I felt we were all connecting in a lot of ways, and I thought that's the connection we're looking for here. And who do we got here? Hey, Delius Creations. Hey, how are you? Hey, I saw a video of yours just a couple of hours ago. I was flipping around. It was that percolator thing you had with the soda thing. I was like, God, you are a mad scientist. Good gosh. You and your what do you call it? That guillotine can crusher. My gosh. That thing would just flatten that can right down there. Get that. And yeah, you do quite a few experiments. You are like that mad scientist guy. Really, you know. You say you're into chemistry and stuff like that. I believe you said you studied chemistry. So I remember this stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. And yes, I'm happy you liked it. Oh yeah, it was cool. It was definitely kind of cool though. You know, hey, there's 6 of you coming on in there. Awesome. I'm glad you showed up there, Delius. Dallas Creations. The Delius Creations. That's it. Awesome. Yeah, so anyway, I got to tell you the truth. In the last couple of weeks, I noticed some of my numbers went down. Some of my, the subscriptions weren't rolling in, but partly that was my fault. I kind of slacked off a little bit with a lot of videos. I kind of got into I told you, I think I put a short out there describing that sometimes I need inspiration. There were a couple of times I'd actually tried to come up with a short, and I just wasn't feeling it. Like I tried to come up with one, but I do have two. I do have two. I got one coming out tomorrow afternoon, and I'm gonna try to get one all ready to go. And I got another one coming out as well. So I got a couple that I'm gonna release. So I need to start being more consistent, at least two a week. I only put one out last week, but I think I had a lot on my mind. Sometimes when I've got a lot I'm thinking about, and I try to come out with videos. Sometimes it's just not all there, you know. Former high school chemistry teacher, also was a TA in college. Okay. Oh yeah. I'm happy you liked it. Yeah, that's right. You did tell me that. I think on one of your comments you left, you told me you were a high school chemistry teacher. Yeah, I know we had a little bit of a runaround about the physics. Now let me explain myself. I understand that. I think you said that I was not factual. I've been meaning to tell you this, Delius, that it was a lot to do with these circles of life, and I was trying to describe atoms and molecules and things like that. Now, a lot of my understanding is just personal understandings. I mean, it's not book smarts. A lot of that was just like the way I envisioned how things just kind of work together, how like the circular motion is just relative to everything in like physics and things like that. And even in nature and science, everything has a circular motion and things like that. I mean, Einstein described relativity. I mean, it had a lot to do with like time continuums and things like that. But I was just trying to just draw the comparisons, like how everything spans out from the molecule to the solar system to the galaxy, how everything spans out and everything is in circulars. And I guess I was just trying to come up with that. Now, maybe it wasn't, maybe my whole thing with the molecule was not exact with the shells, but I mean, I was trying to just draw the analogy that the solar system and the molecules have similar propensities, if that's the right word or not. They react very similar. In other words, how they have but they're not exact. It's not perfectly exact, but there's a similarity there. That was my point. But each one is in a different time continuum, which Einstein had proven. I mean, the solar system is at a different time continuum than the atoms because of their size and their relativity and that kind of thing. And of course, galaxies is the same thing. So I was just, but I know it was not factual as far as just the way it may be, text and things. Okay, no worries, brother. I overthink and sometimes put nose into things, and I times overcomplicate. It's all good, and I appreciate the analogy. No, that's cool. I've been meaning to tell you that, but I mean, at some point, but I do welcome the healthy debate, though. You're thinking like you got knowledge into chemistry, and I know chemistry is all about molecules and about mixing molecules and fusing them together in some ways in order to make completely different chemicals by fusing them, mixing them. So yes, you have to know a lot about molecular structures and molecular reactions and things like that. So obviously, but yeah. But that's cool. That's cool. That's all. So anyway, hey, we got 7. Hey, people are coming on in here. Hello, people. Anybody who just come on in here, welcome. Welcome to our Thanksgiving. I would call it a dinner, but it is not. But actually, it is a dinner because this is food for thought. Okay? All right, there you go. So that's what we got going on here. But anyway, things are all looking well. But like I said, I guess maybe leading up to the last couple of weeks, that was a lot of it was me. I kind of wasn't putting out as much material, and I noticed a lot of the views were dropping a little bit. Some of the subscriptions weren't coming in as like they did before, but that's okay because I had to say, well, look, I got to be consistent, and I got to put out decent material and things like that. People, for not just the audience. I mean, you're the subscribers. You are the audience. And, of course, I have to make things that you like, that you subscribe to, obviously. So Okay, but of course, but then of course you're always trying to get in new subscribers. You're always trying to reach out there. You want new people to come on in, things like that. But anyway, listen. What happened? So, people, if you have any questions, anything is any kind of questions about, let's say, about a previous video, about something I said that you aren't clear about, maybe I can elaborate deeper on, this is the time to do it. If you text it down here, I'm going to try to read every text that you give me down here. And if there's anything we can discuss, talk about, because I'll tell you, a lot of times your feedback is amazing. I see some of the things that you come back with, and a lot of times it's very insightful to me. It's like just it's very intelligent what you say. I'm like, wow, because you see a way of like you almost see differences. At the same time, you see similarities in the, okay, it's a different way of wording things, putting them into a certain analogy, a certain metaphor, but at the same time, it's like you kind of see that you're almost coming from the same place, like the same thinking process kind of got it in a line with the way you are sometimes. So a lot of times it's like, hey, that's a pretty good way of looking at it. So, yes, yeah. Okay, y'all should join in on the chat. This is very friendly space. Yes, of course it is. Oh, Peace 25. Hello, my good friend. How are you? How you feeling? I hope you're feeling all right. I hope you're recovering. The last couple times you were having some you had a couple accidents you were in. I hope you're doing good. Hi, Tom. Sorry I've been missing out lately. I've just started training at a new job while dealing with the whiplash. And I'm resting up. Well, okay. I hope. Okay. I'm good to hear. Hopefully things are going well for you. Peace in the valley. Yeah, this is good. You two, everybody's kind of knowing each other. Everybody's like very familiar here, so that's awesome. Hey, pass a turkey leg, huh? Yeah, we're having our Thanksgiving feast here. Food for thought. I should have called this. I didn't even think about it till now. I should have said Thanksgiving food for thought. INFJ, experience life. That would have been kind of cool, huh? Tom froze for me. What does that mean? Tom froze from. I don't know what that means. Okay, yeah. Congrats on the new job. Yes, good. Yeah, good job. You got your job and you're dealing with that stuff, huh? Okay. Did your spider visit for some turkey? Oh my gosh! I told you the spider story. As much as I'd like to tell you, I haven't seen my spider. I just haven't. I wished I did. I've been kind of looking for her, but I haven't seen her. I mean, I have a theory. The only thing is, a spider life. They do a dog life thing. Like they say, 7 years of a dog's life is like 1 year in a human life. There's kind of this comparison in life. You got to figure a life of a spider, like 1 month in our life, our life, 1 month, to a spider's years must be like, 4 years. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what the relevance is there, but it's got to be like 4 or 5 years for every month. Well, maybe 2 years. I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe somebody could look that up. Maybe it depends on the species, the size of the spider. Maybe every spider is different, but you got to figure a month goes by. That's like years in their life. Like what would be like going for ours. I had to conclude that I think at one point, not too long after I started seeing the spider, it seemed like she started coming out a little more often. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. I kept thinking, oh, there's my friend. I'd give him my water on the Q-tip and all that, right? And but after I didn't see her for a while, I thought, was that her way of knowing that, she wasn't long for the world, let's say? You know what I'm saying? And that was her way of just reaching out. And then she, but obviously they can't really communicate. But I always wondered if, because animals know. They instinctively know when they're gonna go, when their time is up. And a lot of them that they do know that. But the thing is, I saw a couple of like minute spiders that were like, like newborn, like the size of eggs, and I thought, I wonder if that was her eggs that hatched. And then now she passed on a few. She gave birth. She laid eggs. Gave they were hatched, and then she passed on, and now there's other new spiders in the house. I mean, I don't know, but no, I'd like to tell you I see my spider again, but no, I think I think that's what happened. Okay, let's see. Okay, hope you heal well. Hey, 8 viewers here. Hello to everybody. Welcome in. Come on in. Take a seat, grab a plate, and enjoy some food for thought. See? I know, Tom, you're so different. Why is he so different when he's live than he is when he's on his chats? Why is he so different in his videos? He's always so serious on his videos. But hey, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just because yeah, I don't know. I'm just making that up. I'm just trying to be lively here. I want you to have a good time here. I can't be just this boring, stuffy guy. Well, the space and time continuum is, it's like, you gotta at least unwind a little bit, right? That's all. When you're inviting people on in, you gotta unwind a little bit. Hey, 11 viewers, awesome. Thank you. Come on in, people. Come on in. This is Thanksgiving live, INFJ experience, and we are experiencing it together. So, anyway, let me read it. So, does anybody have any questions? Okay. Oh, you've been dealing with depression, actually dealing with pain in the neck. Oh, yeah. You still, the neck's still bothering you? Peace? Oh, that. Well, I hope that eventually gets better. I really do. I'll definitely have to look that up. Okay. I've been in several accidents. Pillows help me get around sleeping. Yep. All right. It's my strong visit, your intuition. Hey, hello there. This is somebody. This is a new name. Hello there. Who is Flush in Uskadiska? Oh my gosh. I hope I'm saying that right. 36910. Okay, there's somebody I haven't seen before. Hello there. How you doing there? Can I call you Flush or Flush? Okay. Or can I call you 36910? Hello. Nice to see you. Yes. Okay. I woke up this morning thinking about you in the video. And then I stumbled upon this, and I hope you're having a great day. Yes, your intuition is strong to visit your stream. Really? Well, there you go. So you had an intuition that I was doing a live stream. Is that what it was? Wow. Yes. The force is strong in you. As Yoda might have said, huh? I love my ceiling spider. Oh, Dalish, you got a ceiling spider? Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? You got to keep spiders around. I mean, occasionally you just got to keep them in the house. They eat up the bugs that kind of bug you anyway, so they're good to have around. They're really harmless. I mean, you look at a spider. They got six eyes, 8 legs. They look like something from outer space, but I mean, they will bite you. But and some of them are venomous, but usually it's in self-defense. I mean, I think they really got a bad rap. They're kind of misunderstood. You know what it's like to be misunderstood? You look all hairy and with fangs and bunches of eyes, and people want to step on you just because you look creepy. Yeah, they're definitely misunderstood. You get to know these things, and, they're really not bad creatures. Okay, Carla. Who's Carla? Okay. I've gone through 10 different pillows and Peace, you were having a hard time sleeping, trying to find a nice pillow to sleep on, huh? Oh my goodness. That's chronic pain for you right there. It sounds like you got some, yeah. Okay, I'm listening while eating my dinner. Okay, hope you're having a good dinner. Hopefully it's a Thanksgiving dinner. Hey, there you go. I had dinner earlier. I did have dinner. I figured I was going to do that too, but I thought, wait a minute. How can I do that? If I'm eating dinner, I can't talk with my mouth full, you know what I mean? So I gotta do this after the fact, you know. So that's all. There you go. That's awesome. That really is awesome, though. Well, yeah. So, yeah, Dale. Oh yeah, we got some good stuff going here. I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad we got a table going here. You know. Well, there could be some more coming on in here, but yeah, we're up to as far as subscribers, it's up to about 454. So we're climbing. We are climbing. Now, every time I do a live, a lot of times it's on the hundred kind of milestones. I did one on 100. I think I did another one on 300, 400. Now I'm doing one at 452. But this is Thanksgiving. This is not a milestone. This is more like our family kind of gathering is what it is. Our experience gathering. That's all this is. Yeah, I mean, come on. We want to spend a little holiday together. So this is a special occasion for that, right? Yeah. So yeah, let's see. What else do we got here? Peace. I definitely understand your pain struggles. You get the severe tension, headaches, and migraines from TMJ. TMJ. Is that to do with the jaw? What does TMJ stand for? I've heard of that. Is that from the clenching of the jaw, or is that something completely different? Could you fill me in on that, Cam? What TMJ is again? I've heard of it. I just forgot what it is. How do you navigate through depression, Tom? Oh, how do I navigate and manage through depression? Well, you know, honestly, I practice what I preach, and that's a very good question. Lately, I deal with it. I mean, I haven't really gotten too depressed lately. In fact, well, actually, I was kind of waking up this morning and I had some thoughts and I just kept mulling things over in my head, you know. But sometimes all you can do is let the tears fall. You got to let it be there. I mean, I try to meditate, I try to pray. But sometimes if the pain is there, if the hurt is there, you kind of just deal with it. It's like you weather a storm, kind of the way that willow tree might just will weather the storm. And that tree might be swaying, it might be hammering, it might be bending sideways, but that thing is weathering the storm, and it has no choice but to. It has to. All these things in nature have to weather storms. They can't hide. They don't. There's no shelter for them. Now, I guess in my latter years, especially in the last, especially since I got divorced and I had to buy my own house, I've been really trying to find that completion, that empty spot. I'm trying to fill that empty spot in my heart, and I think that's the only way to do it. Oh, TMJ, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Here we go. Oh, there we go. It's temporomandibular joint. Temporomandibular joint. Okay, all right. I know it stood for something like that. Yeah, that's why they call it TMJ, because I can see why they abbreviate something like that. Who wants to have to say that every time? Gosh, there must be 9 syllables in that. So, by your ear. Yes, Tom, that's exactly. Stands for temporomandibular joint. Okay, yeah. Now, where is that joint? See, I know a lot of things. I forgot that. Maybe I know what a TMJ is. Where is that joint? Is that, it's not the jaw, is it? No, it isn't that. Maybe it's, actually, see, I'm not sure. It's by your ear. Oh, is that where it is? Is that what you're saying, Delius? That joint is by the ear? Is that the one is in the jaw right here? Yeah, TMJ, like from clinching, like. Is that what that is? Okay, here we go. Oh, we've got 12. Hello, welcome to the 12th one coming on in. Hello, how are you? It's your jaw. Okay, I thought it was the jaw. Yeah. I got this click jaw. I don't really, the only thing is my jaw clicks. I don't know if you could hear it. If I got really close. Can you hear that? It clicks when I open my mouth too much. It's been like that. When I was a kid, I was 15 years old, back in my hometown, Lynn, Massachusetts. I told you it was a rough town in one of the videos just a couple of days ago. And I got jumped by some kids. Yeah, they just kind of. I was walking down. You know what? It was my fault. I should have been no. I shouldn't have walked down that street. It was a bad neighborhood. It was a bad street. And I walked down there anyway. Walked past, kids on a porch, and they just decided to show me their territory, the hard way. One of them clocked me right in the jaw, and it's never been the same. It's like it dislocated it, and it's been clicked ever since. Hey, it is what it is. And I used to play harmonica, I still do sometime, right? I got the harmonica right here, though. Yeah, I got the blues heart, right? Funny thing is, every time I have something like that, it ends up just messing with my jaw. I try playing with the harmonica a little bit, and my jaw starts messing with me a little bit, Okay, let me see. It is your jaw. Okay. Mandible jawbone. Yeah, that's it, the mandible. The mandible is that's the lower movable part of the jaw. That links in there, right? That's the whole mandible, that whole jawbone. Is that what that is? Yeah. Did you do an adjustment for chiropractic or braces? Oh. That's a crazy story, Tom. I love your stories. Yeah, well, they are true stories, yeah. Well, I told you I had a rough neighborhood. If you saw some of that video, that's what happened there, so. Yeah, if there's anything if there's any, like I said, if you have any questions you'd like me to elaborate on, maybe one of my shorts, and said, what did he mean by that? Any questions about anything I said in a video, in a short, what I mean? I'll definitely answer the question as best as I can. But to go back to your original question about how I handle stress, and I told you about just dealing with it, kind of like the tree dealing with the weather. I feel as though, and I'm sure some of you have already been through this, maybe all of you. We've been through that dark night. We've been through that crossing the perilous ocean where our soul had no choice, had nowhere to go. We had nowhere to go. It's like we exhausted all other avenues of retreat. We couldn't retreat into this physical world. This world is just, there's no pleasure here. It's like being that we're introverted, being that we're completely inward. A lot of times our soul, the only satisfaction we get, the only relief we can have because of our introverted intuition, because of us being so inward, is to find grace, is to find that within our heart, is to find that in our soul. Now, like I said, other personality types, there's 15 other types, and you got eight of them are extroverted types, 8 are introverted types. They're all broken down the way Myers-Briggs did that. But a lot of times, the way I see it is that a lot of extroverted people, especially extroverted sensing types, it seems to me that when they long for something, being that that's their primary function, is not introverted. Their way of looking for an outlet is something that's stimulating on the outside. Maybe they go surfing, or they lift weights. They find fulfillment out of their extroversion, being that it's our inferior function. We could find some pleasure, we find some outlet, but it never is totally fulfilling. Being that the INFJ is built completely backwards from like an extroverted sensor. In fact, the other 3 that are extroverted, all of them, our only way of finding some kind of relief is the fact that we find some kind of grace, some kind of completion in ourselves, and that's the only place we can find it. Really, that's why we suffer. That's why we are sufferers. That's why our heart aches more than others. A lot of times, like I said, some of the personality types, they may feel lonely, they get bored, they get, but they just find outlets that the world will offer. Not to say not to say their heart or their spirit doesn't pine. Of course they do. We all do. We're human beings, but a lot of times they can find that fulfillment in the sensuals. While we don't find full fulfillment in the sensual, only temporary, minor fulfillment in the sensual. Senses, I mean. Okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have 13. Hey, I'm glad. Thank you for hanging around. Awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, but bottom line is that seems to be the only way to really find some kind of dealing with your depression. Now, once I felt like, I think I had told you the story. I don't know if I did or not, but I felt like for months, I felt like I was in a dark soul, like a dark night of the soul. And it felt like every so often things would bubble up. Things would just, and it would happen at the craziest times, sometimes in the middle of night when I'm working, right in the middle of a work shift. And I'd be trying to do my job. And I told you I haul diesel fuel. And I'd be just lugging the hose, going from truck to truck, and all of a sudden something might hit me. And I'm like looking around, and I would get kind of welled up. I'd start thinking things, and sometimes the tears would start flowing right there at work. And I'm like, please don't anybody come walk over to me, please. I don't want people to see me lose it right now. But I had no choice. That's when it was happening. So it was happening at odd times. But I had to let it be there. And I thought, I have to weather this. I had to, you know. And hopefully, you understand me, people. We all find that at some point, a lot of us reach that point. We have no choice but to go through the dark night. Sometimes these souls take months. But funny thing is like just out of nowhere, I kept doing it, and I didn't run. I tried not to run or anything like that. I tried not to escape and things like. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like almost like you ever wake up after you had a storm, a massive storm, let's say a snowstorm or a blizzard or a hurricane, a bad storm. But then usually the next day, the very next day, you wake up and the storm passes. And usually whenever the storm passes, it's always met with a clear, beautiful blue sky. It left a wake of devastation. You get up and there's a pile of snow in the backyard, or everything's knocked down. Maybe a fence is knocked over. Maybe trees fell, right? But you look up and it's a beautiful day the next day. It's kind of like that. You come out of these dark nights in the soul, but when you're ready, all of a sudden it's like, I don't feel depressed anymore. I don't feel that emptiness anymore. I don't feel alone. I'm alone. I don't feel lonely. I don't feel empty anymore. Somehow there's a peace that you found in your heart. You really did. Okay, I'm going to look at this. Okay, I definitely need to work on breath work and meditation. Thank you for sharing. Yes, of course, Cam. Being around other people makes me feel very lonely. When I'm alone, I feel at peace. Well, yeah, I tell you, I'm the same way. You have to be at peace with yourself. You really do. You can't rely on others to make you, because when you rely on others to bring you satisfaction or fill your void, like a lot of times people get married, they get into relationships and marriages because they need to fill those voids. But you're giving a lot of power to somebody else. You're giving somebody power over your emotion, power over your entire soul, in a sense, by giving that, by not having that. A lot of times men do this. We actually, men, as a young man, I did this as myself. Men especially do this. We look for women to save us, in a sense, become our saviors and save our loneliness. A lot of times men, we do that. And a lot of times a man, it's almost like we're groomed to think that we're nothing without the love of a woman. That a man is not complete unless he's married, unless he finds a mate, unless he has children and he's a provider. Now, that's all fine and dandy, and that's good. But the thing is, a man has to find his soul first. He first has to fill his own heart, and he has to fill that void first, and then before he's ready. But so many times we don't go to that step. This society just says, just get married. This is your completion, is each other. No, you need to fill your heart first before you're ready for a mate, before you're ready for somebody else. And that's the same thing with men and women. You know, funny thing is, my mother used to tell me that stuff. I grew up with my mom telling me that stuff, you know. And I would hope that she'd know that, they found that at least. So, yeah, it's definitely need to. Okay, yes, exactly. Let's see. So some chiropractic. Yeah. So peace. Definitely. I hope you feel better out there. I really do hope that you definitely feel you get better. You feel better from that. I hope eventually maybe you can get your neck. I mean, that's all I can say is I hope that works for you. I just went to a great mountain yesterday until the evening for dinner. The orchestra, the orchestra with the crickets being surrounded by nature was the best part. Candles were set up there. Now, I'm going to say that, okay, Frush, I'm going to call you. That's a beautiful story. I'm going to take it that you are south of where I am. It's not quite winter there. If you still have crickets chirping, you got to be somewhere south. I don't know what country you're from. You got to be closer to the equator than I do. I would imagine. Maybe down in the south, maybe down near Texas or maybe Georgia, if you're in the United States, that is. I can only guess, but you're not from the northern, you're not from where I am for that one. I'm in New Hampshire, by the way. I think I've told you that before. Yes, I'm from the great state of New Hampshire. Beautiful state. And I know if you'd like, you could tell me where you're from. I think I remember some of you where you told me you were from last time. I know Peace, Peace, she's from Virginia. I remember that, Peace in the Valley. I know where you're from. I know we have different states we're from. Is anybody from outside the United States? Anybody from Great Britain by any chance? I wonder. Now, within Great Britain, it might be a little late right now. Where they would be, it would be probably close to midnight right about now. Probably 1 in the morning. I think they're like 5 or 6 hours ahead. I mean, they might be up late watching me. I don't know. They might be, but that's okay. Yeah, yeah. That's a wonderful story you got there. The cricket orchestra. Yeah. Yep. PTSD. Oh my gosh, little trauma there, huh? Good gosh, Peace, you are just you are quite a trooper, aren't you? Boy, you've been dealt some bad things going on. All I can say, I hope you're. Oh my gosh, uh, I'm. No, I'm far from the U.S. Okay, Frush, far from the U.S. I'm from the Philippines. Oh my gosh, But there was a group of Americans who joined a small walk yesterday. Philippines. Oh my gosh, that's halfway around the world. You're literally, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Somebody's from the Philippines here. I can believe that. I would imagine it's got to be early morning where you are. It's got to be like you're just waking up or something. But Philippines, if I remember right, I mean they're in Asia. They're an island group, but they're kind of south, and they're off the coast of. Is it China? In Malaysia? I'm just trying to remember my geography a little bit. I know it's a nice island group, and I know I know you speak English there. Is a pretty much a primary language now. I know that was a British colony back in the day. The British formed that, so it's a English speaking colony. That much I know, and I do believe that it's not a territory of the United States. No, it's not that. I'm trying to remember what the Philippines were, but I know they're very much friends with politically with the United States. They've always been like a good ally of the U.S. That much I do know about Philippines. Yes. Okay. But Philippines are gorgeous. Much love to you, Karia. Yes. Yeah, Philippines. Well, that's all I said is anybody from outside the. See, I knew she was when she talked about crickets. I'm thinking either she's from the south or she's got to be from. Well, I don't know if I'm saying she. I don't know. I can't say. I don't know what if it's a. I should just say you. I don't know if you're male or female. But you're saying that you're you're from you were hearing crickets or something like that. That's all. I just heard the crickets. I'm thinking, well, that's definitely probably not in the United States yet. I mean, we're getting into our winter now, especially we're almost into December. And from what I mean, we're into the 30s right now. I'm averaging about 30 degrees. Most of the day today up here in New Hampshire it was in the 30-degree mark, things like that. So, yeah. Nature hike here is beautiful. It was a sacred sanctuary to animals, but there are some built people who wanted to take away the land to build homes or other projects. Yeah. Well, oh, yes. I've seen. Oh, you know what? Actually, you know what? Frush, I've seen your comments before. You've less. I'm just remembering. I'm seeing your picture. I do see it. And I remember. You've been out there a while. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I understand. We gotta preserve some wildlife, of course, but again, people do have to live too. I mean, we are still creatures of Earth. You know, I know a lot of times we make a mess of things, and we do, and sometimes we push animals out of their environment. And I don't like seeing that, but sometimes we do make a mess of things. But we still belong here. I mean, it's still our Earth. And I know we could do a better job keeping things tidy, keeping things clean. There's things we could work on as a race, as a being to preserve our world. But we got to remember, though, we have just as much right to live on this world as all the animals. We just have to know we can coexist. But I think there are efforts right now going on just to make sure that. I know in the United States, especially, that there's a lot of animal rights and EPA and things like that, and a lot of like agencies. Sometimes I think they go a little overboard. They go too far. I mean, I think they have a noble purpose, but I mean, a lot of times, they overstep things too. But you do have to remember we live here too, and we have to have somewhere to live. So even American advocates protect advocates protection to this land. Okay, right? Now, is it some kind of a sanctuary? Like, is it a certain like rare species of animal that's endangered? Because a lot of times that's what they do. They have an endangered species or certain wetland areas they have to protect and things like that. I know that's usually what they do when they go do that. But yeah, we just have to do a better job at keeping things, respecting the environment. I mean, I think we should. I mean, we shouldn't make a total mess of it, but at the same time, we're still entitled to live as here as well, though. That's the thing. So, oh yes, but anyway, like I said, so if there's any questions you have about anything. Any other kind of things you'd like to talk about? Hey, we got 16 coming on in here. Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to the table. Welcome to the INFJ Live for the 16. Who might have just recently joined us. Hello, welcome. Grab a plate. Grab some food. Food for thought, that is. I'm kidding. I get a little goofy when I get around, the live and stuff like that. But yes. Hello, kind sir. Hello there, 13 Rhett. Okay, hello there, 13 Rhett. And you got what is that picture? Is that a lion? I'm trying to see what that picture is. Well, hello there, 13 Rhett. How are you? You must, I have to say, hello, kind sir. Okay, hello. Hello back. That's a very kind sir. Something tells me the way you're. Yeah. Now, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking, 13 Red? Are you from outside the United States? I mean, obviously, I get this really horrible northern New England accent here, so you kind of know where I'm from. So you figured I get this real thick, U.S. accent. So I kind of give it away. But where are you from, though? Oh, the way you're saying kind sir, I think... you just don't get that kind of talk from a lot of Americans anymore. Say, yo, dude, what's up, or something like that, Okay, skateboard. Oh, I'm from the Midwest. There you go, Midwest, and that's kind sir. Okay, there you go. All right, Midwest. That's a beautiful area. Well, you get the Great Plains out there, Midwest. Yeah. So a lot of area out there. That's a very large area, Midwest. Yeah, definitely. Okay, but you're from the United States, though. That's all. Yeah, I mean, you got Ohio, you got Nebraska, you got, gosh, you got Iowa. A lot of, if you're talking that, was it further Midwest or Illinois? Okay, Ohio. Okay, Ohio. Okay, there you go. There you go. Ohio. That's nice. Yeah. Like I said, this is New Hampshire up here. So, hey, we just got another one coming on here. It's 17. This is awesome. I love it. I love it. Just come on in. This is great, people. You're making my day. I hope I'm making your day as well. This is good. But yeah, it's been like I said, last couple weeks with the channel. I mean, say the last month. I mean, like I said, it was a lot of me. I noticed that my numbers were dropping a bit. It was getting kind of depressing. Like, what do I do? Come on, I don't want to lose this audience. I don't want to lose this. I need motivation. I need to keep going. I really like this channel, but what's happening? And then I just noticed a couple of like videos I put out like a couple months ago that really were like going viral. To me, it was viral. I had a couple, and then they started dying off a little bit. You know what I mean? So they were bringing in a lot of views. And of course, once you get one video that's getting a lot of views, and of course, then they want to see another one. So then, of course, it kind of chain reaction. So then you get people wanting to see other videos. If they see one, you start subscribing, start watching more. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of ran its course. This video just kind of did its thing, ran it. And then it just, at this point, it kind of tapered off. I'm like, oh, gosh. Then all of a sudden, not as many views, not as many hour views, and like, all right, well, I need, but just got to plug away. I need to put out better, well, not better, but just keep putting out good material. Just keep making connections. I got to make sure people know I'm still here. And so, but like I said, but there was a funky time. I had a couple things going on, a little overwhelming. So, but I'm coming out of it. I got to know that, you all matter here, obviously. And of course you do. And that's why we're together here. It's actually my second whiplash injury due to two different car accidents. Oh, yeah. Oh, you told me about that one. You told me about the one that rear-ended you, piece. And then there was the second one was a T-bone. Yeah, I hit the driver door. Actually, yeah, you told me that story. Yes. Yeah. Good gosh. I hope, okay. Yeah. My gosh. You're a trooper though. You show up though. You're alive though. You're doing okay. But it sounds like you're still working though. Peace in the valley. You're still working. I think, right? Yeah. But as far as that goes, yes. As far as the viewership goes, yeah. I just had to just say, okay, just got to plug away here. All right. Like Frank Sinatra said, that's life. You're flying high in April and then you're shot right down in May. But I'm going to change that tune when I'm flying high. I'm flying high in June. Oh, that's life. Remember that one? Yeah, so it's kind of like that, see? Yeah, you didn't know I like Frank Sinatra, did you? But, yeah, so I guess that's a lot of what it is. I mean, I can't expect it. Okay, well, I had a great month. And then all of a sudden they go down a little bit. It's like, that's that. I guess that's the rating business. That's part of what being a YouTuber is. I mean, I'm not quite a real YouTuber here. I'm still climbing that ladder, still climbing that hill to try to, get into that zone where I'm at least taken serious by YouTube. That is, so. I think people also get busy with the holiday season, Tom. Don't get discouraged and keep doing your thing. And yes, well, I'm glad you said that. Of course, yeah. And I think that's a lot of it. What it was is the whole holiday thing. I think I put a video about coping with the holidays. That actually did pretty well. Yeah, and I talked about that. But like I said, a lot of us. I'm at a point now. Like I said, I went over to my brother's house. I mean, my parents have passed on. I have a brother, and he's got a large family. He's got grandkids and all that. And he's a few years older than me, and my gosh, he's getting old. My poor brother. I look at him now, and he's put on weight, and he kind of hobbles. He looks like he says his hip is bothering him, and then he's telling me he's like 7 months from being retired. He's going to retire next year in like June, which is his birthday. He was, so he's going to. So I guess that's what he's going to do. Yeah. So he's, but it's a shame to see that he's sometimes, he hobbles around a little bit, but yeah, that's his thing. But no, I mean, there's not a lot of family there. That's the only outlet I have is to go over there. And like I told you earlier on in the broadcast, I'm like, sometimes my vibes tell me, some of them are like, oh, why'd he show up? Like, it's like, it makes you wonder if they really like you there. It's like, some did. Some were fine with it. Some of them like wondering why did I show up here? But of course, I bring a nice ice cream cake. I bring stuff. Okay. Hey, you don't need to know that, right? Oh, all right. What do we got? Think of doing busy. Yep, that's right. The second act. Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's the current state of our channel right at the time. But you know what the thing is? I'm seeing your support right now. That this is great. Just having a live broadcast. There's 18 of you right now. I'm reading this. I don't know if you can see the same thing I can, but I'm looking at my analytics, and I see, 18 viewers are right here right now, and that's good. So you're hanging around, which is awesome. So maybe I picked a good time frame to have this. Maybe 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and people are settling down on a Saturday night. A lot of people aren't out going to clubs or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't go to clubs anymore. It's just a lot of money nowadays. So, but oh, we got the karaoke preview. Oh yeah, with the That's Life. Yeah. Oh, you'd love it. You know what? I actually love karaoke too. Now that you mention it, Darius. I actually I haven't gone in a while, but I do like that. Glad to see and share that you're happy vibes, Tom. Well, of course, happy vibes. Well, if I had a live Brian, I was all like dry and like yeah, just serious. Wouldn't be too good. You gotta be nice. But anyway, like I said, anybody got any questions? Anybody have any concerns about, let's say, concerns about INFJ? I mean, this is what we are. This is the channel. I would assume that a lot of us like to know that, or anything I've ever brought up on a video, anything that I've ever mentioned that you want any kind of like clarity on. I mean, I could do that. But what I like the best about these is this. I see a lot of you leave you comments. In fact, everybody I'm looking at here, I've seen your comments more than once, and you build up a kind of a friendship. I mean, even though we don't personally know each other, I've never seen your face. I don't see you personally. I never spoke to you. I mean, that's fine, but still, I see your comments. I see your text, and I just know there's. You're answering. You're out there. That means a lot. And that means a lot. And then later on, I put out another video, and I see your names come up over here. I remember you. And then I see, like, hey, how you doing? It's like then you answer back, or, it's kind of cool just to see that you're out there, that we're all somehow, we have a relatable life here in a lot of ways. That's one thing I did notice, though, is that, I mean, I know all personality types, they discovered them. I know Carl Jung kind of came up with the whole idea of the whole MBTI. Well, it wasn't him. He came up with the whole idea of the four main functions of the, of everybody having their unique personality. I think in his mind, he just kind of narrowed it down to about 8. And then it wasn't the Myers and Briggs took his idea and they kind of said, wait, they kind of came up with more kind of code configurations, kind of function configurations. And they said, no, there's 16 of them. there's double that. There's not just 8 of these. I guess that's where they came up with them, because you figure there's 4 functions per, and if you just take every one in combination and just reverse them, then there are 16 different personality types. You know, I also wondered, could there be more than that? But is it just 16? Can they branch it off more with the MBTI? Is this as far as it goes? But I guess you'd have to start adding more types. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't all of a sudden say, well, what's your favorite color? Well, I'm black. Oh, that gives you this category. You can't just, I guess you can't split hairs. You have to come down to the basic functions and how people think, how they decide, how they make their decisions, and how their mind works when they process their information. So I guess it all comes down to that 4 major functions and how that balances itself in that. But actually, though, I don't know if you have, if excuse me, I'm not sure if any of you have ever actually either read about or actually maybe seen videos on Carl Jung. And that guy was vastly deep. I mean, some of the things I'm actually looking to get a book, maybe an audio book, an actual Carl Jung book, because he talks about, I mean, I was watching some of these videos, like some of these AI videos, and they were talking about, there's one channel, it covers a lot of like Carl Jung psychology. And I mean, especially talking about the 4 introverted intuitive types. Okay, the INFJ, INTJ, INFP, and INTP. Those are the 4 introverted, and they're all very similar. I mean, the other 2 codes on the end, kind of change around the functions just a bit, but they all have that introverted intuitive. And but the thing is just looking at the way, because we're always in our head, because we're into that imagination and intuition, and how deep it goes, and how it's just it's like the dimension and how it goes into the subconscious and dual consciousnesses and things like that. It's amazing. I was like trying to understand it. A lot of it was like, almost blowing my mind. Some of them, like so there's a lot of these. I can't remember what I was looking at. I should have wrote the channel down, but there was one in particular that was just Carl Jung psychology. It was unbelievable. The dude was really, really advanced. But one of these, I'm going to try to get. Eventually, I want to start understanding a little bit more on the psyche behind that. I think instinctively we already do, because if we are introverted intuitives, we kind of already know it. We're living it. We are there. I mean, a lot of times we're not putting things into words. We may not be actually having it as like we're not studying it. Maybe we're not dissecting it the way he was a psychologist. I mean, but we are living it, so it testifies. But when we hear these things, when you hear certain things about the depth of this kind of like intuition and how it works, and the depths of it, it just rings a bell. It's like, whoa, somebody just put that into words. That's what that is. Whoa, that's deep. And then all of a sudden you just start testifying to what that was all about, and it gets quite intriguing at that point. Yeah, but Carl Jung's psychology was immensely deep. There's no doubt about that, though. All right, I'm going to read some of these. What do we got here? Glad to see you. Happy vibes. I know you told us last live. Okay, something about it. I told. Oh, about the karaoke preview. Yes, okay. I feel the possible. Okay, Delius. Boy, let me see what you got written here, guy. I feel the possibility exists for more types depending on how high one goes into IQ. When the traits start overlapping, it could explain INFJ's uncertainty in their label. Okay. Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Overlapping with the, okay, so the IQ gets higher, And then you're saying that certain functions start overlapping, like kind of like fusing, like so they're no longer separate as like one, two, three, four. They're kind of overlapping kind of thing. So then you think there's like an extension of a different personality, like deeper than the 16? Maybe. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I get it what you're saying. Boy, that's deep. Darius. I mean, well, you come up with these contraptions. I mean, I know you get, you definitely got some control. I don't know if anybody's seen Darius's his channel. He's got some incredible inventions. I mean, they're not conventional, but they're great. I mean, like I said, the can crushing thing. I says, hey, all right. You said you, and I like the way he describes. Well, I really had a fascination with this French. You described it. You didn't say his name. There was a French. Whatever it was, and I was inspired by this. Plus, I need to crush my cans or something. So, and then you just kind of pulled the trigger on that thing. You got a can, and that thing made it like, I mean, paper thin too. You had all those, looked like you took like those weights, like from a workout kit, and you kind of had it like a guillotine, and you had it. You lifted that thing up, and you just bang, you know. Yeah, if you ever check out some of Darius' creations, check out his page if anybody's interested. And he's got, there's a couple of videos out there that he's got that are just some of the inventions. I mean, you do the physical inventions that are, plus, I mean, the chemistry too. Very smart, whatever he's got going on there. So there's a plug for your channel there, guy. All right. So, all right. But, okay, SN10. Hello there. How are you? SN10S. I always wondered about why we are so rare. Meanwhile, there are so many of us in media, and we are really that cool. I don't know. Explains the paurism. What is paurism? I don't know if you misspelled that last word. The paurism. That's a word I've never heard of. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's there are a lot. Well, you know what? It's like anything. I mean, if you want to, we're rare, but there's a reason why we're rare. There's probably a lot of INFJs that aren't tested as INFJs. There's probably a lot that never came forward. You got to figure it can't be exact, but the thing is too, from what averages they came up with, from what tests they have. I mean, whoever goes ahead and makes the test, whoever takes the test, they do the averages, and they can only base it on who's taking these tests. So, of course, I mean, they have to say that most of the world population has this, but, I mean, they could be even more rare than that, or they could be posers. Oh, posers. Okay. All right. Yeah. Could be. Explains the posers. Yeah. But my point is that, yeah, I mean, I think that, they only base the averages on who tested. And I mean, how many people actually took a test in this world? I mean, probably very small percentage of people actually tested. I mean, you figure people are being born every day. This is a fairly new thing. I mean, Carl Jung died in like 1961. I think he came up with this whole idea of the whole system was probably back in the 40s. 30s, when he developed it, when he finally fine-tuned it and came up with his theory. And of course, Myers-Briggs didn't actually break it down into 16, I think, until the 1970s. And then at that point, it wasn't even until the 90s they finally started to recognize this as a viable method of actually finding, people's personality types as anything as value. Now, some corporations, I think if you have to join the FBI or there's certain institutions, I mean, maybe not institutions, but now they require you take the MBTI test. They want to see what you are. They want to see what kind of level you are, so they know how to deal with you, know how you're best utilized based on your type, as well as that goes too. So I guess, but it's all fairly new in the last maybe 25, 30 years, how they're understanding it. So this is all brand new. So the whole idea of testing it's a new thing, really. That's why we haven't heard of this. I didn't hear of this until almost going on 3.5, 4 years now. I mean, when I first started this, I think it was about 3.5 years, 3.5, something like that. So this is fairly new that I found it. And I'm sure a lot of you discovered this whole MBTI type. I mean, I'm not sure how you stumbled across it, but being that INFJs, we are we're so not conventional. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to. We're not very typical. Our minds think so radically different than a lot of other types. A lot of the, INTPs, INTJs. I mean, yeah, they all kind of have their own side to them. All the introverted intuitives have a certain way, but a good majority, I think, of the world. I think I was reading somewhere that, believe it or not, the most common personality type is the ISFJ. I think I was reading that somewhere, I heard that somewhere. And you'd think that just one letter off, now that's the most common. But you think about the percentages of the more common ones. I think that's only like 13%, 13 point whatever percent that they say are IFJs. I mean, ISFJs. So, but you'd almost think to yourself, how could that be? I mean, another introverted type, but it's an introverted sensing type is like the most common. But again, you take away one, you rearrange one letter, and it kind of affects the other functions. Yeah, so the way they break them down, it just kind of makes the whole four dominant functions or primary functions and dominant functions. It makes them all radically different. So. Oh, I agree. Okay, so hey, we're up to 23. Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome to everybody that's on in here. This is great. Let's see. I've already been here. We've already been here an hour and a quarter into this broadcast. I hope everybody had a great day. Thanksgiving to all the new ones who came in. Thank you for showing up. I'm glad you're sticking around. Thank you very much. But the true ISFJs are much rare on men, I think. Oh, is that right? Okay, maybe you got to tell me that. I don't remember, but I do know that it's a more common one, but just one letter off. It's a more common type, though. We're very misunderstood. Well, of course we are. I mean, all our life. That's why we're drawn to this. That's why. That's one of the primary reasons why INFJs are so drawn to psychology, so drawn to personality types, is because we know we don't fit in. I mean, all our lives we're trying to figure out. Listen, people, I'm sure you met. There were times I've questioned my sanity through my life. I mean, being that I'm like, I tell myself, I don't think like other people. There's something like I know I think differently, but I'm not crazy. But am I? Why is that? Why are we so different? And I think a lot of times we questioned our sanity. And this was a relief to find out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's this MBTI type here? And what is the INFJ? And then it's like you fully align with everything. Then you take a test and sure you are one. And I think we had a similar awakening as to how we found out. It's because we just knew we were different. We had something different about us. You might have questioned your sanity. You knew you had a difference about you. You knew you had depression about you. You had things going on in your mind, but you knew you were smart. You knew your mind worked well. You knew you were a problem solver. You think, wait a minute, if I was crazy, I wouldn't be thinking this. Crazy people don't know they're crazy, and they think irrational. So you're not mentally ill. But why do I think like this? And then all of a sudden you find out you're this very rarest personality type, less than 1 to 2% of the population. You realize how rare it is. And then all of a sudden it clicks in. It's like, that's it. Are you kidding me? Really? That's what this is all about, huh? Okay. And then I immersed myself. I mean, I pretty much watched a lot of videos and tried to learn as much as I could. I even ordered one of those MBTI type indicator books. I mean, I flipped through it. I mean, I didn't read it end to end. I probably should have, but I read enough of it to know how the basics of how MBTI works, things like that. But yeah, a lot of my knowledge of it is just my own experience, who I am. I just use who I am. But of course, I watch a lot of these YouTubes, and this is where YouTubers have infiltrated, pretty much everything you can imagine. There's a YouTube channel for it. So of course, there's plenty of INFJ channels as well. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to read some of these comments. Excuse me, people. What you got going on here? We're very misunderstood. What are the thoughts on Carl Jung's persona explanation? Okay, hold on a minute. And I'm going to just read this next one. I think it's common on women, but I met an ISFJ man. They're quite similar to INFJs, but they are so comfortable in a group or social settings. That's why they might be extroverts in first impression. Okay. Are you talking about the ISFJ? And you being that they're an introvert and introverting sensing, now they're more comfortable around groups? Is that what you mean? Well, yeah, they're okay. Now, Carl Jung, the persona explanation. Now, 13 Rhett. Hello there, Rhett. Could you? I'm not sure I know exactly what that is. I got to be honest with you. Persona. What exactly Carl Jung's persona explanation? Is it the? I was watching one video about almost the dual persona, like the dual awarenesses or something like that. It's like your awareness is watching another awareness. You're standing out. You're watching yourself in a sense. Like there's another dual awareness. I saw something about that, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can relate to that. I think we do that. We can sit there, if that's what you're talking about. I don't know, but almost like a dual awareness. I was watching one of those videos about the Carl Jung one, and it was something about how another consciousness, another level, like where you are consciousness of who you are. You know who you are. You're awake. You know you're thinking. You have a mind. But then there's a separate, almost entity, like a separateness, like a quiet one, a still one, kind of observing you as you in your own self. I think that's why I put a short out about the self in self. I just recently put something like that out. I said, I was like, I think I was trying to elaborate something on the self in self, how we have that extra consciousness in a sense, like we can kind of observe ourselves in a way, like we have a heightened sense of awareness in some ways in that way too, just because of the way we think, because of the way we process, and because of our alignments. Yeah, we have another level, some ways, of awareness. Now, if that's what okay, let me say, I think it's more along the lines of being socially conditioned for external rules, like externally being awarded based on merit-based society. It works and gives structure, but unfulfilling. Okay. Well, I'm thinking that the shadow. You got down the shadow, Darius. Okay, is that what that is? The shadow function, maybe. Okay, or is that what I'm talking about? That dual awareness, that other dual one there. Yeah, but the collective consciousness. That's it. You people are smart out there. I forget these terms. I know I've watched the collective conscious. Oh my gosh, oh my God. See, you people, I love you out there. You're so smart. You're teaching me. That's what I'm talking. I think that's the collective unconsciousness is about being in alignment, that you have an absolute value and not transitional value. Okay. All right. The absolute conscious. The collective consciousness. Oh my gosh. That's deep stuff. See, Sigmund Freud was playing checkers, and Carl Jung was playing like 4D chess. You know what I mean? That's what it seems like. I mean, not to take away from Sigmund Freud. He had some good points, but Carl Jung was just way, way deeper. You know what I mean? He really was. But yeah, the shadow then, huh? Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely some kind of there's definitely a deep way of thinking that's. But we're drawn to these channels only because yes, we have a certain we 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 want to figure ourselves out because all our lives, yes, we've been the ones that were questioning our sanity, questioning our existence. We question our whole being. Like, why am I here? We always ask these questions. There's something deeper. We always have this purpose. I mean, these are stereotypes. Like somehow there's a purpose in our life. We're supposed to leave an impact. We're supposed to be. Gosh, I mean, to use a metaphor, I mean, you throw a pebble in the water, and that pebble kind of eventually ripples out, and it just disturbs things just enough. There might be little twigs and leaves in there, but it alters their course just slightly, just enough. Then it washes up on shore, and it just kind of moves around the sand on the shore. Not a big mark, but now you take a rock or a boulder, you throw that out there, and it makes a bigger wave, doesn't it? And then it makes a bigger impact. So, I mean, there's got to be a certain level of impact. But I think a lot of times INFJs believe there's some impact we leave on the world that we're supposed to. That's why this channel brings me such joy, and that's why I think that a lot of this times is because, for one thing, we're meeting like-minded people. We're finally finding people that think like us and understand us and relate to us and testify to what we see. And that's why we're drawn to this, really. And but also it's a sense of knowing that there's a purpose out there too. That we have an input that we're just here on multimedia. I mean, obviously this technology wasn't available even 20 years ago. It was in its infancy. 30 years ago we didn't even have YouTube. I mean, so this is all fairly new stuff we got right here. So, being in a moment helps. Yes, being in the moment helps. Yes, gosh, that's yeah. A lot of times we project so much in the future, we forget that we got to maintain our current. Yeah, a lot of times we get lost in our future, don't we? Yeah. Okay, and I look for reasons to laugh when I can as well. I laugh as much as I can. Yeah. The kingdom of God is within. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. That was Jesus said that. I believe on the Sermon on the Mount, I believe that's where that came from. Okay, definitely. Yeah, I notice a lot of INFJs are very spiritual. Even some that are maybe agnostic or atheist, they still have a spirituality. I mean, they may not believe they believe something. There's a spiritual belief in there. A lot of them. But how could they not? I mean, they're seeing dimensions into things that are just deeper than themselves. I mean, it's almost like we're testifying. Our mind is like that. It's seeing things that we were never, we were never educated to see. And so, matter of fact, if I just put out a video, if you saw that one, anybody see the God Code? I just put that out. That's my newest one, and I was talking just about that, the God Code, on how everything on Earth has its own code. I mean, animals have their own code, and it has its own. I broke it down into three functions. It had the physical code, which was the DNA God Code. I called it the God Code. I know it could easily be explained away as just. That's all part of just evolution, and this is just the way it could be explained away where there's no God. I understand, and that's how it goes. But because there's really no proof. I mean, we can't see God. I mean, God's not sitting in a chair in the sky like we think. But the God Code. I mean, I said it was broken down into the DNA, like a physical code. We're all kind of duplicate what we came from. Animals, plants, human beings all have that. Every living thing. And of course you had the instinctual code, where animals have a certain way that they function based on what they are. I mean, certain animals build their dwellings, they hunt a certain way, forage a certain way, react a certain way. They all base it on their species. And of course, I mean, birds build a certain nest. Certain species of birds build the identical nest, even though they're not with the same birds. They're never taught. This is just instinctual. They know how to build a nest, and that nest could be smaller than a different, depending on the species. I mean, a hummingbird nest has that little tiny nest for whatever, but I mean, still, it's a bowl nest. Then you get an ostrich nest. It's on the ground, but it's still kind of similar based on the size. But then I said there was that spiritual code that the human being is exclusive to. Animals don't have a spiritual code. I'm going to say that. Somebody might argue and say, oh, but I don't think animals are spiritual. They're strictly based on instinct. They have that instinctual code, and they survive based on that. But I don't think animals are asking questions. Who are we? How deep is the universe? I mean, why am I here? See, animals don't ask these questions. I mean, I can't imagine like a small insect or something asking these questions. It just doesn't happen, you know. But human beings, we're like God's ultimate creation. So that's what I was saying. That was what the video was all about. We're the ultimate creation of God. We're His masterpiece, basically, and that's what we are. So He put everything in there, but He gave us that spiritual code, and that spiritual code was basically the mind. In a sense, I mean, we have the ability to think, to have the reasoning, to have the compassion, to have the heart, and of course the intelligence. Now, not all of the intelligence of God. I mean, we didn't create anything. All we did was we mirror. That's why we are in the God's image. We mirror that. We can think. We have the ability to see His creation, the vastness, the immensity of His creation, of His universe, the way He constructed it. And again, that's where the circles of life came from. I was just trying to say that God had a way of making everything circular. From the molecule to the solar system to the galaxy to the circles to the circulatory system, how everything works in circles, and that's the function. Everything is orbitable, things like that, and it's all relative. But it's up to us to say, oh my gosh, God did that. But He gave us the mind to see it, to actually compute it, and ultimately just give it back to Him and just like mirror it back. Like we were that shining mirror that He gave us that mind. Now, I mean, we could look at biblical text, like the Bible, Genesis. I know there was the fall of the Garden of Eden, and that's where man became kind of separate from God. I mean, you look at that. I mean, there's a lot of that you could look at. And it may look like a fable, the whole Adam and Eve story, how they were given one piece of fruit that don't eat of this apple. Personally, I think it was some kind of a mushroom, I mean, maybe it was something that opened the mind, kind of expanded the mind. And it's not just an apple. I mean, it had to have been some kind of a poison mushroom. Think about it. If there was something that made you think, like opened your mind and expanded like a hallucinogen. If you look at it, that could have been the forbidden fruit. Was a peyote button or something like that, or maybe a fermented something that fermented, something that went bad, a bread mold, whatever, and it messed with your mind. But he was strictly told, don't eat of this fruit of this tree. And but it opened their mind, all right. But that was the curse. That was the entire sin that just collapsed man into being who he was. The whole that was like a set of dominoes. Eve took the fruit. She did eat. Then she handed it to Adam, and he did eat. And then they were cursed. They were expelled from the Garden of Eden. And I mean, there's a whole story there. And then, of course, Jesus came as a salvation. He came to die for our sins. So, I mean, if you look, I mean, there's a whole, perfect story there and how it unfolded. I mean, I know I'm getting into like religion and spirituality. I mean, I am Christian based. I think that a lot of you, I don't know, maybe you are Christian based, but a lot of that's what the story is. That's why we sin now. We weren't perfect. Like God gave us this one thing, this one test, this one thing. like a dad would say, don't touch that toy up there. You're not ready for it. You're not old enough to touch that, that BB gun. But what does that kid do? Dad's not here. Dad's not here. Hey, I'm going to go try to check out that BB gun. He's going to grab it anyway. It's in our nature. It's in our nature to defy our parents sometime, just to sneak around their back and try to look at it anyway. We inherited that sin. This is like a set of dominoes that we just inherited from that whole one sin. And so it tainted the whole human race. So, I mean, I didn't say that on the whole God code. I didn't want to get too deep into that. But bottom line is, a lot of that has to do with why we sin, why we're so messed up as a human race, why we're dysfunctional, why we do crazy stuff, is because we fell from grace, and we went away from God's grace, from God's love, and we wanted to be our own God, and basically, because we took that forbidden fruit. The idea was, here's the tree of life, or here's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that was where that fruit came from. But they didn't choose the tree of life, which would have given them life. They wanted that. They were tempted to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. What does that? Yeah, some kind of a peyote button or something. Okay. Yeah, okay. I guess I went on to a tirade. I never said that on any video. I didn't. I guess that's kind of deep, but that's the reality of what happened with the Adam and Eve thing. That's a whole syndrome in itself, because we inherited that. It tainted our entire nature, just from our original parents. Now, as much as that seems like a fable, and I know Moses wrote the Genesis and the first 5 books, somehow there's some truth behind that. Somehow this story means something to explain our fall from grace. There is some meaning in there somehow. Okay, I said quite a bit, didn't I? I want to see let's see, what do we got here? Okay, how to break from the collective consciousness. I figured out I was an IFJ because I was having a mental health crisis. Okay, and that was Rhett, 13 Rhett. Oh, bingo, S10. Being in the moment helps. I look at the reason to laugh when I can, and while I laugh as much as I can. Darius, okay, man. Nothing. Hey, you gotta, nothing wrong with laughing. You can tell I like to laugh too. And when I get the right crowd, the right energy, and the right people, man, I tend to I let out a little bit. That's good about you there, Darius, man. You gotta laugh. I feel like I'm going crazy. Almost every day. Some of it comes from the vast empathetic feelings we have, constantly looking at others and take care of ourselves. Okay. Yeah. I got to the point now. I mean, I'm so alone now. I mean, I've kind of, in my latter years, I don't feel like I put myself out there as much. I mean, if anything, it's this channel right here. It's with you people right here. I feel like this is a connection I got. I try to elaborate. I just said what I said. I feel like I can unleash a little bit right now. You know what I mean? But this channel is becoming that for me. What you just said, Cam. All right. My study in science led to my faith growing stronger. Awesome. It's like everything is dancing from atoms to stars. Deep. There's your deep, man. Foosh. Tom, do you think imagination has power? Okay. Do I think imagination has power? Well, that's an interesting question. Power. Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, now, Darius, you're going to relate to this. Being the creator that you are, being that you are the mad scientist that you are. If it wasn't from the imagination of your mind, would you have come up with your guillotine thing? Yet there was power in that imagination of you just coming up with that whole that contraption, that machine that you built, and your chemistry. So there is power in the imagination because if not for that, where would we have had the inventions to invent, to see the, to see the ingenuity behind developing? Of course, I mean, there's power in that, but the power starts in the mind. It begins in the mind, and it goes through the hands, and it translates into a a thing, either speech. Now, yes, there's power because a lot of times, I mean, just me translating into my words right now, me thinking about what you said. I mean, you're giving me an idea in my head. I mean, of course, there's power in there because it's going to lead. It's going to be translated. It's going to be kind of acted upon through our deeds, through our emotions, through our ingenuity and what we create, what we expound on, and how we expound with different, whether it be art, whether it be machinery creations like devices, creating things like that are beneficial. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's power in that because imagination is where everything grows from, and that's where our everything stems from first. But the thing is, like I said, it's being that we have introverted intuition, being that we have a mind. Not everything. I believe honestly that not everything is just we're not just sponges of education. I mean, that's apparent. I mean, that's one of the things I think most of us have is the fact that we're not just taught things. We're not just. It's not what we see now. To read and write, to have rote. I mean, that has to be taught. To have a language that is common. Of course, these are ways of communicating. These have to be transmitted and taught through text, through environment, through other interaction with other people, obviously, because that's a common communication. That's a common way of thinking. That's a common way of, yeah, like I said, communication, getting along. So you have to be educated in that, but it goes beyond that. Our mind is our own. Has a depth and a mind, like the old saying, a mind of our own. I mean, that's the code I was talking about. Is that we're born to know things, and we are born to know a lot of things. I mean, obviously, like I said, I mean, Einstein at a very young age had. I mean, even though they say that he was actually had a touch of like autism almost. He didn't speak till he was like 3 or 4 years old, and he was so advanced in his mind in like physics and things. But where did this stuff come from? He wasn't taught or educated. He actually was in another realm. Now, yes, you look at him. He was on a spectrum disorder. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, he had a lot of his gearing on one end. He was over here with his he wasn't balanced. I mean. So, I mean, a lot of times we're a little more balanced between like our mind and our ingenuity and what we see and perceive in our world. But he was a part of the spectrum, which is what the spectrum disorder is. But the thing is, I mean, he came up with equations and things about gravity and the way it bends and things like that, and how gravity changes when you go near like a heavy gravitational object in space, and how time and things change based on like relativity, based on like the size and scope of where they are. I mean, just understanding that there's power in that imagination because we're born to know things, obviously. Our mind goes far deeper than what we're educated to see. Our education can only be sight and sound. It can be what we see in our environment, and usually what's inputted, what's indoctrinated in, what we're educated to have. But being in touch, tapping into what we're born to know, from that God code that I said, that is where the power really comes from. But it has to be, typically you're hoping that is for the good, is only to testify. A lot of it is in testifying that, this is what God did. This is what God did, and giving kind of praise and thanks to him, that he did it. And of course, also learning, just like understanding his physics on how he created the universe. Here's a prime example: the way he created the universe, the way he just put everything into motion, just the revolutions of planets around solar systems and molecules, as I've described in the circles of life. Now, just having that basic understanding kind of gives us the whole idea on how to transmit that into just functioning and how we're building in things on Earth, building things in machinery. A gas combustion engine is all based on just the up and down motion. I mean, you got a diesel engine, gas engine. I mean, gosh, you got spark plugs, you got cylinders that compress the gasoline. They take the vapor, they compress that in a split second. There's a small spark that, and it sends that explosion just to send that up. Then there's a chamber that allows the exhaust to go out into the manifold, into the exhaust system. Just that's a small example, and of course, then the air intake takes it in. It does the whole same thing. You got 8 cylinders doing this, creating that whole up and down chugging, which creates that whole cylinders. So yeah, it's all part of that whole depth of the power of that imagination, which came up with that. But that's all just basic science and basic principles of physics that put all these things together. And man is meant to know these things in whatever way, shape, or form. I mean, that's where it truly came from. Okay, gosh, all right. So I hope I go into what you asked me a question. I go a little too. All right, let's see. Any thoughts on 31 Atlas, Dialius? Okay, that's a question for you, Dialius. 31 Atlas. Okay. And, oh, wait a minute. What we got here? An unbalanced physicist. Genius. Nah. Many brilliant scientists were philosophers as well. Yeah, gosh, man, the dude's deep, man. Okay, now you're thinking about it, too. With your emojis, you're thinking about it now. Any unbalanced physicist? Genius. Nah. Many brilliant scientists were philosophers as well. Well, you have to be a philosopher and, at the same time. Yeah, but a lot of times, I mean, a lot of your greatest inventors, a lot of them didn't have a lot of like education. A lot of them just came out of like, they tinkered around in their garages. Like somebody I know out there, they did. I mean, Thomas Edison, I think he invented all sorts of things. Gosh, the light bulb, the phonograph. I mean, they invented, but a lot of these guys just were tinkering around with things. I actually have this theory for an electromagnetic engine. I never put it into use, but it had a lot to do with almost like taking the whole vortex, taking like polar opposite of magnetisms and just like getting them like aligned in such a way where you ever take a magnet and you take the opposite ends of magnets and they repel each other. Okay. And I was thinking there must be a way to take it like almost like instead of having like any kind of like something to move and like to charge up like an electric station, like that filament, you know what I mean, like a charger, but just having like an electromagnetics, and it kind of goes down. Oh, I might be giving you some ideas there, Darius. Take some polar negative polarity, and there's a force that pushes the negative magnets away. You get the two of them. I mean, one side it attract, and the other side repel. You can't even put these things. They fight each other. But you take these in a perfect balance, and there must be a way to take that harness that into kind of like a vortex, like a cyclone almost, and like elaborately kind of keep that thing perpetually spinning without energy, without wind. You see what I mean? And it's like, and then it could be a self-contained. I had this whole idea for this electromagnetic, and it's all there. I'm just too lazy to get around to trying to put it together. Tell you the truth, but the whole invention's right there, and in theory, I know it would work. But a lot of that just came from just like common physics, just understanding things, you know. I'm not going to go too deep into what it was. I mean, I've never tried it. I just know it's all like in the mind, you know. It's all in my imagination, but there's power in that as well. So, gosh, now Darius, I don't know. I give you maybe you've already done something like that, but something to do with negative magnet resistance, I guess you could call it. There's power in that. There's a force. There's a driving force, a repelling force that could be harnessed. You didn't hear that from me. I didn't say that. So I mean, I'm telling you. So I mean, there's a couple things I got going on in there. A lot of times, I mean, sometimes I start talking, and sometimes I start saying things. I'm like, where does this come from? I mean, how am I getting these things? Sometimes I just, all right. I'm going to just go ahead and, Darius. Now, the these now do exist, magnet-based generators. Okay, they do. The magnets lose magnetism over time, but they do exist. I think I knew that. Yeah, I think I heard something about that. Did you often find that? Did you often find that your mind is silent? Is that question for me? My mind going silent? Is that my question? Do you often find that your mind is silent? Okay, it takes a little bit of effort. It actually takes, that's through meditation is when we try to quiet our thoughts. And that's part of our meditation question, a meditation exercise, you know. I think that's when you want to try to quiet the mind. You got to try to find like that. See, the way I meditate is when I close my eyes, I try to project outward. I try to be aware of my body, my breathing. You know, just kind of, you know, if I'm laying in like bed before, maybe before I go to sleep, I try to think of like, not try to think of anything, but just like as you close your eyes, you can actually see speckles, and you can see like in the center of your consciousness, which is in your basically between your eyes, is you feel like you're right here. Now you also get your mind thinking. You got those electrons, and you got that whole electric system going in your mind. You get that whole jumble of your thoughts going. Okay? The idea that I have is like when you project outward, you find that stillness, like that eye of the storm. And you try to project out and see those speckles, almost like you're looking at space. When you're in the dark, you know, it's nothing. If you cover your eyes and close your eyes, when you project out, it's black. Okay, it's black, but as you're projecting out, it's like you're looking at almost like a sheet, like a projector screen, but with speckles and everything. You try to put yourself out there as you're aware of your body, you're breathing at the same time. So you're trying to get out of your thoughts. You're trying to separate your thoughts from your mind. You're trying to get out of that hurricane of your mind, is what it is. And you might be aware for a couple of seconds where you might just get out of it and it's quiet. Okay, it's quiet. Okay, Rhett 13 Rhett? Rhett, I'm going to call you Rhett. It is quiet at that point. That's where your mind goes silent. But a lot of times you get pulled back into your thoughts. You do. It's like you might be aware for a couple of seconds and then you get pulled back in. I should have said this. I should have done that. I should have gone and did this. And then you got to kind of recenter, come back to your whole like body, feeling you breathing, and then you try to project out and try to get that stillness again. And that's where the practice comes from. But that's usually the time my mind goes silent or still. Now, if you practice that, practicing a regular meditation, and that's how you silence your mind. And a lot of times that's where your mind goes at rest, or not your mind. Your mind is always going to think. You're always going to have your neurons are going to be firing. Thoughts are going to be going through your mind. But you can make that consciousness, you can make your stillness, your consciousness separate from that. And that's what the meditation is. It's projecting outward and becoming aware and getting out of those thoughts. Okay? And a lot of times that's part of our meditation. And a lot of times these things that are unresolved in our mind, a lot of times this is almost a reset button in a way for our mind because we're getting out of that. We're clearing out our thoughts. We're not getting caught up into our that mind. We should be in our consciousness. We should be in that quiet stillness, the eye of the storm. That's that quiet part that you talked about. So that's part of what everybody. I don't know what your techniques of meditation. If you do meditate, a lot of times INFJs, we are meditators. It's almost necessary for our mind because it never stops. So there has to be a way that we find some kind of a relief from that never-ending mind that never stops. But I mean, maybe everybody has a different technique. Maybe it's similar to that. But that's the way you silence the mind. But it's something you gotta do daily, though. You gotta find those moments of stillness, quiet, and just quiet yourself down and try to find that peace. All right, that's pretty much what it is. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into that's the basics of it. I mean, I don't know if I can get too much in. We have 26 of you out there. Hello, everybody. We got quite an audience. Thank you. 26 viewing right now, and you're hanging around. This is awesome. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. All right, to everybody, huh? Have a drink, huh? Hey, I got crystal water here. Everybody have a drink, huh? Toast, huh? All right, I'm not drinking anything. This is just regular old water here. But yeah, that's pretty much how we got that. Let me see. Do you often find your mindset? It's a question for me and both you. Okay, all right. I hope I answered your question. Let's see. I usually find myself sort of thoughtless in my day to day. Not always, and I usually have aha moments. I have intuition through a sense of feeling and not so much a strict logical. Not so much a strict logical. Okay. All right. Tai Chi does help. Oh, all right. Oh, Frush, Tai Chi. Yeah. That's a whole I've been seeing that a lot on YouTube, just like the whole thing of Tai Chi. It's like working out, and some of these Tai Chi guys are like ripped, I've been seeing that. Yeah, they're trying to get these. I see a few ads for that, Frush, about Tai Chi here on YouTube. So my other way is to do cardio or dancing cardio, even though I don't dance well, in strength training. Okay. Well, as long as you're moving, yeah. That's something I should do a little more exercise than I do. A lot of times I get a lot of my exercise from just doing my job. I kind of lug a diesel who's around a yard and I fill trucks up. So, I mean, I get that. I mean, I probably should get into working out. I used to, but that's good though. Tai Chi, and it helps mind, body, and soul they're all linked. The mind, body, and soul is all one unit. So, yes, I want to have a great body as I grow old. He. I love the laugh you got in there. All right. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, yeah. I mean, we gotta maintain it the best we can. I mean, that's something I'm kind of wrestling with a little bit in my life. Is I need to get out a little more, and I need to do more exercise. I don't want to pay a lot of money for an expensive gym. I keep thinking I can make a workout room, but I never get around to it. Right now, I'm really focusing on mortgage. I mean, I'm just me. Mortgaging a home, paying for heat, things like that. So I gotta watch my stuff. I have to watch my things. But that's now the Philippines. Is that in the tropics, or isn't part of the Philippines actually in the tropic of Cancer? Is it? That's the northern one. It's not quite near the equator, I think. Maybe you can answer me that, or if maybe part of half the island group is actually in the tropics, I think. So I think it's a warm climate down there. So, okay, but anyway, so yeah, thank you for your questions. I love your questions, people. My gosh, you do an awesome job. These questions are great. I can't believe it's already going on 8 o'clock. All right. If you don't mind, I'm going to stick around another hour. I'm good with this. I planned on doing 3 hours. I ended up doing a 3 hour live last time. I did 3 hours and I loved it. I advertised for 2 hours. I went from like 3 to 5, and I says, you know what? I'm going to go another hour. This is just too. This is too good. And I did another hour. It just. I tell you, sometimes these hours just they fly by, and I don't even see them really going. It's like you kind of lose track of time in a way, you know. So there's the power of your imagination you were talking about. When you're engaged, when you're actually having a good conversation, engaging conversation, and time stands still, almost literally. I mean, not literally, but in a sense it does, because you're so enwrapped in what you're saying. Your mind is so active. You're bringing out certain active minds. So that's great. That's why I love these lives, and I think a lot of you have the from your input here. I can see you're all thinking the same way too. It's like that's what it brings out in us right here. Okay. Yeah, are you disassociating, Rhett? What do you mean by that? I didn't do that. Yes, I want to have a great body as I grow old. Uh, oh, I I guess so. What would you define as disassociation? Yeah, what does that mean? Right. Okay. Similar to daydreaming or zone. Oh, okay. That's disassociating, zoning out. Yeah, okay. I get it. Yeah. 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 We tend to do that, don't we? That's one of those things. Well, that's one of the curses that we have. Gosh, we're so much in our minds. Yeah, sometimes we zone out a little bit, right? You should look into that derealization if you find yourself zoning out. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? There are 27 viewers out there. Hello. That's good. I'm glad you're all hanging out here. Now, listen, if you have any questions, if you've seen any of my shorts, my videos, anybody has a question, you're open. I encourage it. I mean, I'm trying to look at every text here on the chat, and I definitely would like to answer your questions if you'd like. I always ask people where they're from. I mean, is anybody out there from the? I'm from New Hampshire. I think a lot of people know that. I'm from the good old states, New Hampshire, USA. I love my state. I live probably maybe 25 minutes from Lake Winnipesaukee. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. Yeah, but beautiful lake. Yeah, I go up there a couple times a year. I go up there. I don't have a boat or anything, but I love Winnipesaukee. There's something about still waters, you know. There's just something really stirs the soul. No, that's kind of a paradox, huh? Still waters, they really stir the soul. Hey, just made up that, huh? Yeah. No, they do. I mean, there's something about water, like shimmering water. I love it. Is this like standing a mountain? Like it gets my mind. It clears out you talk about your Tai Chi and things. A lot of times with me, it's nature. And I think a lot of us, nature stirs our soul. And then we need that. We need that interaction, the breathing, of nature, the breathing of fresh air, the beauty of nature, being one with with creation. I mean, that's one thing that really centers us. It puts us in a good frame of mind. And there's something that quiets your mind. A lot of times your mind isn't quiet, but you start having peaceful. It brings you peace is when you're next to a thing like that, okay? Do you ever get a homesick feeling, but not for any specific place? Is that a question for me, or is that another question? Homesick feeling. Okay. That must, okay. Okay, I think you're asking somebody else that question. Okay. Oh, anyone else in the chat? Every day. Okay. Yes, natural hiking is best. Going to beaches can also be cleansing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, being on the Philippines, yeah, you've got a lot of. I'm sure there's that. That looks like a really nice. What is Manila? Manila is the capital, right? Are you anywhere near Manila, Fuchs? The capital, Manila, Philippines. I didn't know if that was on. I think there's an island group there. I think it's. I don't know. It's like a 3 or 4 islands or something. Nice looking land though. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Fusa. Okay. But all right. This is good. Yeah. So I do have some. Yes. Oh, you're near. Okay. Yes. Okay. That's it. So you're near Manila then, somewhere near there. Yeah. I know that's the capital. That's the only big city I know. Obviously, I've never traveled outside of the Americas. The furthest I've ever traveled, I did go to Brazil. I went to Brazil, right outside of São Paulo state. And I did go down there. I had to brush up a little bit on Portuguese. It's kind of a long story, but that was, gosh, that was, like almost 28 years ago. I went to Brazil. Yeah. Our country is abundant with fruits and vegetables. Oh, I would imagine so, of course. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay, I would think so. And I would imagine they're all different, like, they're probably fruits that are different. I mean, probably have apples. Apples are all over the world. I mean, just different varieties of apples, things like that. I know. But, so, yeah. What to say? Okay. Well, there's 20. It's still 27. Oh, this is good. But anyway, I hope everybody is doing well. Now, if there's anything you want me to, if you have any suggestions of a certain video topic, something you'd like me to cover, and if you want more of a psychology based thing, or do you want more like things based on like science and physics? See, I cover a lot of different territories, as you can see. I mean, I get into like, not necessarily astrology, but I do like the space and like the physics, quantum physics occasionally. And usually my version of quantum physics and physics is what I know from what I understand. I mean, I kind of understand basic physics and things like that, but a lot of it is how I interpret it. So that's another thing, Darius. Like I said before, I mean, what I was talking about, that was my interpretation of how I see physics and how it's revealed to me and how I understood it. So, but I mean, if there's anything, I was asking Tom. Okay, when I look at the star, okay, what is this? Our country is abundant. I was asking you, Tom. Oh, okay. Let me see. You were asking me a question. What were you? Do you ever get homesick feeling? But not. Oh, that was okay. Was that the question? The homesick one, Cam? That must have been the one. Do I get a homesick feeling? Well, not really. Not really. I grew up. I was born in San Diego, but I moved out of there when I was 7 years old. About 7, and I grew up in Massachusetts, right outside of the Boston area. I know I got that Boston accent. You can kind of tell I'm a Boston guy. But I grew up in Lynn, Mass., which is a city just north of Boston, right on the coast. Lynn, Mass. Lynn, the city of sin. It's a kind of an obscure one, but I mean, around New England, it's known. It's a rough area. But I haven't. I wouldn't say I actually get homesick for a physical location. I mean, I live in where I live now, but I've been up here for 30 years. I mean, I've pretty much been alone since I moved away from my home. You know what I mean? It's always just been me alone. Although I was married for 20, so not completely. I did try marriage. I was married for 20 years. So yeah, I've tried different things. I even tried marriage, but let's just say I'm not married anymore. I don't want to get too much into that. But what really I get sick for, or homesick a lot of times, what really gets me is the fact that I lost I lost 2 brothers. I lost a brother back in 1989. I was 24 years old. He was 31. He had a tragic accident. My brother Jimmy, and he ended up he was out in Southwest Utah, and he was trying to relive like a honeymoon because his wife died a few months earlier. It was a very tragic story. Like his wife had cancer, and I saw her die. She had colon cancer. So my brother kind of didn't really handle it well. He thought he was going to relocate back out to San Diego. We went out to my father was still alive. My oldest brother was still alive at the time, so he went out there thinking he could relocate, and but I guess he was going to retire out there on some of the insurance money that he got from his wife. But he was making a lot of really irrational. He went off the deep end. He didn't handle it well. He started getting into drugs. He started drinking. He was out carousing. He was out doing crazy things, and he kind of lost he kind of lost himself a little bit mentally. I mean, with the whole, losing his wife. Make a long story short, he passed away. He died. He fell off a cliff. He fell off a cliff, and they didn't find him for a few weeks. Now, so I kind of was after he died. I was 24 years old. I had mixed feelings. I was very upset that my brother died, that I lost a brother, but I was angry at him at the same time. Angry that he made it. He died, and he denied me having a brother, and he denied my mom. But at the same time, I was just heartbroken. So that's what I miss. Not just my brother, my other brother. I had another brother that passed away. He was 62. He lived out in California. I mean, I talked to him. I mean, he was still. He died about back in 2016. I mean, he kind of lived an abusive life. He smoked a lot. He did drugs. I mean, he lived an abuse. He kind of put himself that way. He kind of knew, but he died. So then I lost my mom 4 years ago. So what I find heartbreaking the most is like how my family just it dwindled. People go away. But as far as being homesick for my actual home, no. I mean, I found my new home. I have my new place. But yeah, just losing people. Just seeing people that you had in your life. And I'm sure we all know this. I mean, it's part of growing older. We get older. And we lose our people. We lose our family, and sometimes earlier than others. But that's what I think is the most. That's what I get homesick for. Is just knowing my brother didn't have a whole life. He was 31 years old. I mean, he died over 30 years ago, 36 years. I mean, I can't believe. I think, oh my gosh. I mean, how was I so young? How did he die so young like that? And he was, he kind of looked like me. He was better looking than I was. I'm kind of ugly, but my brother, he was, he was. And he had a short life. And I think because his wife died, I mean, now I think his personality type, he was more an extroverted sensor type. He had an addictive personality sometime. He was spontaneous. I mean, he had a way different personality. And he was the type that kind of got, I'd say, he excessed. He did things to excess. And when he got into something, he just couldn't get enough of it, kind of thing. He was like that. He was very compulsive and excessive things. But I mean, what happened was after his wife died the way she did, and he had some things going on, he decided to go out to California, and he went from he became missing. He just went missing. He drove out to Zion National Park where they had a honeymoon, and you ever see some of the pictures of Zion Park, and it's massive mountains and eroded mountains and things, and he climbed up to the top of we don't know if he jumped or whether he fell. It's still a mystery. is a chance he did. There's a chance he took his own life because of where he was. But then there's speculation that maybe the ground broke away. The Rangers told my mom that my mom didn't want to believe he took his life. She wanted to believe that maybe he fell, like he maybe got too close. He was maybe thinking, and then the ground broke away, and then he lost his life that way from an accident. But we really don't know because nobody was there, and we didn't find him for weeks. So, all right, that's very heavy. I'm sorry that we always has been with you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we all have like you asked a question like, am I homesick? It's like, yeah, that's about but it doesn't happen all the time. There's bouts in our life where, we're not always thinking of them, but occasionally a memory might come back. Maybe a certain time of year, and like that. You ever see that? You ever see that night? Sometimes like there's that night that I have when I'm doing some of my videos, and I get that. That was my brother Jimmy's. He gave that to me. See, that's symbolic. That's like sentimental. He was leaving to go to California, and he was packing up his Jeep that he had back in 1989. I still remember the day. It was a day or two before, and he said, "Hey, Tom," says, "you can have the night." And then he gave me a belt buckle too, a really cool. But I still have it. I still wear it to this day. These things are very sentimental to me because he gave them to me. And a couple days later, he left. I never saw him again. It was like within 3 or 4 days after he gave me these things because he was ready to leave. He just didn't have room. He knew the night was fragile. He didn't have the room for it, so he gave it to me. So that night that you see in those videos where he's standing up there holding the sword, that was my brother Jim's night. And I don't know how old that is. That thing's older and that thing looked old back 36 years ago. It really did. So, yeah. But that has a sentimental value to me. So, but anyway, that's what does. Occasionally you think about people and you can't help but to kind of reminisce. But it's very hard. I'm sorry that's always been with you. Maybe talking to them would help. Okay, talking to them would help. Well, sometimes in a way our imagination. Sometimes we have conversations with our departed, whether we know it or not. Sometimes I talk to Mom. Sometimes I feel like I say, "Hi, Mom," and you don't know if you're talking to. I'd like to think that they're beyond the spirit. Do they hear us? I don't know. Does God hear us relay messages? I mean, these are mysteries. We'll never know. I mean, I like to think there's an afterlife. There's a heaven. I like to think that somewhere we're not just our existence goes away after we die, that we just go to nowhere. I'd like to think that somehow we have an afterlife. I mean, most religions talk about it. Christianity's based on that. And so I wonder sometimes, does God relay messages? Does my mom know what I'm doing now? Or is she just not oblivious? I don't know. We don't know these things. We can speculate all we want, but a lot of times I think it's for our own sake. We might, say, "Hi, Mom, how you doing?" God, take care of Mom. Take care of Jimmy. Take care of my family. It's not really a homesick for a home. I guess it's more like an emptiness or a longing in the gut. Okay, I used to, Cam. Not quite as much. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's not it. Well, it's very heavy. I'm sorry. Okay. A tragedy is a powerful thing and very important for our growth. It's just a mystery we can't solve, yes, although it's worth thinking about. Absolutely. And so, yeah, but again, that's just part of like our whole things we have to deal with. Okay, but as far as an emptiness or a longing in the gut, I used to. Before I think I told the story before. I mean, I feel like I've been through my dark soul. I think I could go through another level of that, maybe. Possibly. But since I passed through that and didn't escape, and it seemed like months went by where things, like I told you, I'd be working random times and I'd start getting like very depressed and I'd start reliving things and I'd get really sad. In fact, I told you, I looked around making sure that people didn't see me weep. I was nervous. I mean, he wants to see a big, rugged diesel guy, weeping. Just wouldn't look good, So you kind of hide yourself, As a man, you got to hide those tears. You can't let them show, you know what I mean? So you keep them in, but you let them flow when you're kind of alone. But yeah, but after that happened, I told you it felt like one day I just realized it was almost like that day after a storm. It's like you just had a blue sky, and all of a sudden you didn't feel empty anymore. It's like all of a sudden those empty pinings that you had were gone. It's like it took months. It was a dark night of the soul. It took months. It seemed like, and then finally, just out of nowhere, it just you didn't feel it anymore. And since that time, I tell you, it was like almost close to a year ago. I'd say after I came out of that, it seemed like, and I haven't felt lonely anymore. No, I must say that's gone. But I did before that. There were many times I think there was that pining of the heart that we all have. In fact, I'm putting a video out. Matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that, Cam. Is that I got to download it and I got to kind of clean it up. I got to edit it. I got to kind of dress it up a little bit. It'll probably be ready maybe early next week. Okay, the week coming up. There's a video just on that about the pining of the soul and how growth and how it's necessary to face our hardships, basically to face our pains and not run from them. I mean, because a lot of times people escape from them, maybe through narcotics, through escape, through pleasures, things like that. And a lot of times we need to face those. In fact, a lot of times that's a lot of what my message is here on YouTube and with the INFJs. And being that we're a suffering soul, we understand this. And I think a lot of us can testify to that because we naturally, as a people, as an INFJ, we are the most suffering soul out there. Just the way we're built. We have such polar opposites, such conflicting functions in the way we're kind of wired. And it causes so much confliction with our soul. And our soul is tested constantly. But I think eventually, like I said, I mean, once you face these things and once you let them be there and you have nowhere to go and you go through your dark night, eventually you come out on the other side. I mean, I can only testify to that, people. I can only tell you that I feel more whole. And not to say I don't get sad, but it's not like it was before. It's not like that empty feeling anymore, So I can only hope that everybody, maybe you have found this, but that's an essential part of our growth. But sometimes it takes a long time to figure out that you got nowhere to go. You've exhausted every avenue. You have nowhere to run anymore, but you have no choice but to go through this fire. And this happened after my divorce. And at the same time, my mom passed away. I was going through a real serious, like you talk about, the sadness. Yeah, it was all there. It's all part of that. I'm sure we all go through bouts like that. But sometimes these things trigger us. Sometimes we're triggered by tragedy. Sometimes it does take that. Is that, my mom used to tell me, if your life was all going well, if everything was sunshine and roses with your life, and you had no stress, if you had no pain in your life, you wouldn't grow. You would not. If you were always just in constant, that's why God gave it, basically. She used to explain that to me as a kid. She said that's the reason why we have a pain in our heart, is because that's our growth. That's the same reason why I said plants need that growth. They need that constant stress of wind and hurricanes, of swaying of trees. They're out in that. That's their stress. Animals need that constant being on guard. I mean, prey animals, rabbits, deer have to be on constant guard of predators, from wolves, from whatever it is that's hunting them. So it's this is their stress, but that is their growth. The fact that they run, the fact that they flight keeps them active, keeps them sharp, keeps them resilient in their mind. If they didn't have that, then they would stagnate. they would not have a growth. So it is a necessary function to have that stress. You look at it in nature, you look at it in everything, and there's got to be certain, like the what do you call it? The forces of nature, basically. There's forces of nature. And of course, you have, gravity, you got gravitational pulls. And, same thing, you have forces in like, in the whole universe too. And there's certain stresses that things go over. Look at the Earth itself. The Earth itself has its own version of stress, not just from the fact that it sustains population, but there's a certain volatility that it has. There's volcanoes. Sometimes there are storms. There are raging storms that just circulate. There's typhoons in the Pacific. There are hurricanes. There are storms. There are certain just natural occurrences, natural forces of life that just happen, and these cause our stresses. The Earth is just built like that. These erupting volcanoes, they may look like the molten lava is coming out and they're stressing. Maybe they level certain forests. They alter the forest, but only to spawn new growth. You see what I mean? They might level. It might just destroy a certain area. They look devastated, but you give it 20 years and guess what? That forest is more lush. That forest will all of a sudden become more vibrant because of that disruption in what it was. So this stress, even on the planet, is necessary. So this is all a balance. This is a complete balance in what the whole function of our system is all about. You see? Well, I hope I answered your question. Okay, I ramble on a bit, people. Okay, my gosh, yeah. So that's. I don't think I just wanted that. You actually got me going deep about that. I think I wish I had said what I just said on the video. See, this is why I love this. You people bring this out in me. And I tell you, because you do bring out a lot of this in here. You know what I mean? I look forward to the video. I need to watch the God Code video. Oh, yeah, it's out there. It kind of got me standing there, and I'm looking at I put myself, it's like the big cloud in space, and there's like kind of a prism kind of coming into my mind. It's a kind of a cool thumbnail. It's my latest video. If you haven't seen that one yet, it's a pretty good one. I actually thought it was a pretty good video. So, yeah, it's really home. Okay, but that's, yeah, I hope you watched that one. But yeah, this other one is basically about the stresses and how things are necessary, how it's necessary, how it's growth. It's all about facing hardship is all about how our mind grows, our spirits grow, and our bodies. Hey, in order to exercise your body, look at our body. Gosh, you got to run, you got to lift weights, you got to make it sweat, you got to lift weights. Your body aches. You're aching your muscles, aren't you? You're making those things ache. But what happens? They become stronger. They become chiseled. They become defined. All of a sudden, the body becomes like a well-refined machine when you exercise. When you're not exercising, what happens? When you don't put the stress in there, and then it doesn't get strong, right? Yeah, I know. I definitely could. I got to learn from my experience of that. Hey, I used to work out. I haven't lately. I should follow my own advice there. Believe me, people, I could use a little myself. But yeah, that's necessary. That's why it is. Stresses are necessary. But our soul goes through the same thing. And Iron of Jays, that was the one thing I said, is that we have a soul. We have that pining conscious. And just as I said, the earth and nature is a kind of a mirror. We mirror what goes on in our soul, in our mind, as human beings, as human creatures. These are the examples. That's another thing. That's one of the beautiful balances that God did as He created us. He gave us that perfect balance. He gave us His mind. He gave us this world, this universe that we live in. He created it for us. But He also gave us the ability to see the world around us and see the examples, see the perfect examples if you find them. You could find ways of finding them, but they're all there based on everything that we experience, everything that we have discovered. There's an example to how our mind and how our development works in our soul. Okay, really. So, oh my gosh, it's all. I also drink fresh juice from fruits and vegetables. It does help with making my body stronger and immune. Of course they do. Yeah, fresh. Yeah, a lot of well, that's where a lot of your antioxidants and yeah. So you said there's a lot of vegetables out there in the Philippines. Gotta head out now. But thanks, Tom. Okay, Delius, thank you very much for showing up. If you're taking off, thank you. I appreciate you stopping by. You stuck around a long time, yeah. Good gosh, it's 8:30 already. I'm gonna stick around here till about 9 o'clock here, people. I said I'd stick around here about 3 hours, and yeah, this is a very good chat though going on here. Yeah, yeah, but anyway, that's a lot of where I drive from is just I think a lot of like what this channel is bringing light to that experience that of our how our soul is it's necessary for us to go through these stresses in our lives in order to grow spiritual. And being that we're INFJs, I think understand this in a lot of ways, almost with almost anybody, with almost all of us. I mean, I think we all have our bouts. We've had probably hard lives if we're the INFJs and we're all gathered here. And we know we've had difficult lives and we know our stresses, but these stresses are not in vain. They may seem in vain, like where you're sitting there. And maybe there's times in your life where you're isolated and you feel like you have nothing or nobody. And you may be sitting quiet. Maybe you're weeping. Maybe you got the covers pulled over your head. And a lot of times we go there where we're just at our lowest point, and we're thinking, why am I even alive? How can I survive this? And I think from what I've read and what I understand, it's like when that's a part of our experience, and but that is forging us. That's why a lot of times the INFJ is also known from being a very, very strong-minded, very intelligent, very strong-minded because of these things. That's my whole point, is that the mind is strong because of the stress. Like I said, that cheetah that's out hunting the gazelle, and he's got to be stronger than the gazelle. I mean, the gazelle's got to be able to zigzag, but he's got to be that much faster. You know what I mean? So that stress of hunger in the savannah is keeping that cheetah powerful, right? So there you go. Just because that's his hunger as well. All right, my gosh. I still have 27. Hey, it looks like it held. It held a lot there. So anyway, this is very, very good. So all you people out there that are out there, okay, carrots, apples, cucumbers, kalbash, gourds, and kalash are best combos. Everyone. Some fruits and vegetables are avoidant for specific diseases, but these combos are perfect for any illness. There you go. I'm glad to hear you eating well. That's awesome. That's very good. Yeah, that's excellent. But, okay. All right. Oh, I see. Okay, current views of 5. Okay, all right. So, yeah, that's the basis of why we do what we do. Yeah. So now, people that are out there, you are regulars. Okay, most of you are the ones that were here on my last broadcast as well. Most of you. There's been a few new ones here. Okay. What are your favorite books? Mine are The Strange and the Candace. I think you'd and INFJs enjoy them too, huh? Oh, The Stranger and the Candice? Candy. Okay. I don't think I've ever heard of that book before. Who is the author of that book by any way? Can you tell me the author? And when was that written? Is that a newer book or is that an old classic? I've never actually heard of that book. So, but sounds interesting. Yeah. No, my favorite books. Yeah, I haven't actually done a lot of reading. When I was a kid, I did a lot of reading, And lately, over the last few years, I noticed that I started getting almost like, man, I almost like couldn't focus as much. It would start hurting my neck for one if I read too long, and also I started dozing. I'd start reading a couple pages, and it would get me dozy for some reason, even though I tried to read a book. So I started getting into audiobooks. If I want to hear a book, I'll put an audiobook in and I'll just put it in the background and I'll try to follow along. But one of my favorite books, I like some of the old vintage ones like Tom Sawyer. I know Tom Sawyer is an older book. I don't know if it's my favorite book, but I read Peter Benchley's Jaws back in the 70s. That was another good one. The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I got a lot into I get into the classic books. I liked some of the sci-fi, like the Time Machine. H.G. Wells was good. Just that whole idea, or just that Albert Camus is the one behind The Stranger. Okay, Albert Camus. All right. Okay, Candia, A.K. Optimism by the Voltaire. He's an Enlightenment era thinker. Okay, all right. Enlightenment era thinker. What is the Enlightenment era? What is that exactly? Is that a certain period of time? I'm not sure what that time frame is, but so you got to educate me a little bit on these things. Enlightenment era thinker. Okay. Yeah, but those are some of the books. I read the book, The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is none other H.G. Wells. I think I might have heard that on audiobook. And War of the Worlds. I got into H.G. Wells a bit. And also George Orwell's Animal Farm. Now, Lord of the Flies by Goulding. I got into some of these books that had a lot to do with, you want to talk about a book that's a lot about human nature and things like that. See, these a lot have to do with just, nature, human nature. And I think I was geared toward things like that because Lord of the Flies is all based on that, And another one was 1984. Now, that wasn't my favorite book. That was a little bit hard to follow. A lot of but the storyline was great. And sometimes you see a lot of parallels between the way things are happening now and the way the 1984 unfolded. And sometimes you see how deep, but how a totalitarian government just that was like a system that was even beyond communism. In 1984, that world was chilling in a way. And Animal Farm was another one based on animal, and human nature put on to the animal world kind of thing. Yeah, but things like that. These are some of the books that really I found inspiring with those books. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. And then recently I tried to follow the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah, I notice I go with a lot of these books that are in the public domain when I do listen to books. So, but those are just some of the ones I really got into. I'm trying to remember. I used to when I was a kid too. I read a lot of books about the John F. Kennedy assassination. I thought that it might have been a conspiracy, and read a lot of conspiracy different books and things like that, and possibility of a second gunman up on the grassy knoll and things like that, and maybe it was deeper than it was. Maybe Oswald was framed. Different things like that. So those were more like crime things like that. So yeah, but the Enlightenment era is like the time of many modern philosophers like Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, Kierkegaard, pretty much. Okay, all right. Was that early 1900s or 1800s, something like that? Okay, I think I've heard of all those different ones. Yeah. So, but well, that's awesome. So you get a lot into philosophy and things like that. That you are SN10s. Okay, SN10s. All right. I believe you're new to the. I think you're new to the the chat here. Okay, maybe well, not new to the chat. I mean, new to the new to this live. I don't think I saw you here last. Oh, there's a few new faces. That's good. I'm always glad there's new people coming in though. That's awesome though. Really. So, all right, definitely. So, but anyway, yeah, gosh, I can't believe 3 hours are almost done, people. This is like 20 minutes of 9 already. I'm looking at 8:37 Eastern time, my time. So, but it's hard to believe it's gone that long. Yeah. Well, anyway, people, if there's anything, if you can make a suggestion, any of you out there, do you have any kind of input you could make? Like, what if you want like me to make more videos on, let's say, do you like self-help? Do you like the philosophy, spirituality, psychology? I cover a lot of different things, as you know. I try to put out different videos on different things like that. Things I think that INFJs that we would be geared toward. A lot of it I think is we want to know self-help. A lot of us we want to know our inner workings. We just want to know how we can be happy, how we can control our mind. I think a lot of it has to do with that. I mean, above all, I mean, that's what it is that we want to just know that we have a sound mind, that we're happy, we're not confused, we're not, because most of our life we are, and and that's why we're so geared toward these channels, so geared toward philosophy, so geared toward our psychology, because we want to know our mind, because it's difficult mind to figure out, and that's why we're so drawn to these, because we need that information. We want input from other people that think like us, and just the whole idea we found people that our tribe as well. How are they doing it? Are they doing okay? And that's bottom line. Like I said, I mean, a lot of it is just facing your problems, people. I mean, bottom line is really just taking the bull by the horns a lot of times in your life, and just you have to. You can't run from things. You can't hide from things. You can't hide from issues. You have no choice but to face your demons. And I think a lot of times, though, is that when we're in a bout of, like, let's say we're isolated, we're in our isolation zone, our bunker zone, our whatever it is, our monk mode, our there's a lot of different names for that, where we isolate and we don't talk, and we try to advance our lives, and we go through those bouts many times in our life. We usually come out better, but it's our way of regrouping. It's our way of healing our mind. Maybe something happened, or maybe we got overwhelmed, we got overstressed, things like that, and we try to come out of it better every time. And I think, in a way, I think a lot of it is, if you want to compare it to, like, let's say, you ever see those crustaceans, those lobsters? You ever see certain exoskeleton type animals? Here's another example in nature. They will molt, and they will come out of their shells. Spiders do it, and there's lobsters, crabs, certain ones, certain animals, and because they're an exoskeleton, those skeletons, in order for them to grow larger, they have to break out of their shell. And as they do, they're vulnerable. So at that time, what do? They have to hide under a rock. Like a lobster has this soft shell, so it has to isolate in a way. It had to come out of that old skin physically, see? Because it's trying to grow out of that. It breaks out of that shell. Now it has to hide. Now it's its most vulnerable. I mean, not only just from predators that have a softer, kind of a more easy meal, but also just from injury, because it needs its shell to harden up again. So it's got to hide. It's got to hide under there for a couple weeks, month, whatever it takes, in order for that new shell to harden up. This is its isolation phase. You see? These exoskeleton animals have that. That's an example of nature I could use to our spiritual isolation that we have as INFJs, as humans. So we're vulnerable. We shed that old skin and we have to kind of isolate until we get stronger as well. But we have to kind of deal with it. We have to go through the whole process of it. and just face what it is that's bothering us in the long run, in order to develop that new strength and grow stronger, and grow bigger from that. I don't know. Just an interesting thought, right? Just another. See, there's always a comparison. There's always something in nature, in somewhere out there in this universe, that we use as examples to our growth in our spirits. You know? Okay. Could you possibly do research on biofolds and personality types, or how we received by people around us, what impressions we do leave on them energetically? 1391, okay. The Enlightenment, okay. Could you possibly do research on, okay, biofolds? I'm going to have to look that up. Biofold. What exactly, a biofield? That's a biofield. And personality types, or how we receive by the people around us. Okay, so you're talking about biofield, so like energy, like what energy we're picking up, and how we're like influencing them, things like that, or what impression do we leave on them energetically? Oh, okay, all right. I'll have to look into that. Biofields and personality type, and okay, all right. I'm going to have to look on that. So you're looking at the just the energies that we project outward. I mean, not things that we do like literally. You mean like part of like like the empathy that we have, and the fact that we have our way of making connections, and like what we project outward, that kind of things, like that. I think you're talking about that. I'll have to look at that. The biofields. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm trying to, I'm trying to decipher your question here. What impressions do we leave on them energetically? Okay, all right. I'll look into that a little bit. I'm gonna look up the biofields, and I will try to see what that is. But I do believe there is some connection as far as we do leave. I do believe a lot of times we do leave certain energetic impressions on people. I do believe that. In fact, I have a video on our cause and effect. That's another video that I had. You know, how you could walk into a room and you feel the presence change, like how we change people just by our presence. I mean, we feed the energies, being that we are empathic, and we a lot of times read rooms. In fact, I did just do that on Thanksgiving. I was telling people how somehow I could tell the people that are like wondering why I showed up, and the other people that happen to see me, ones that are like, hey, how you doing, Uncle Tom? And the other ones are like, geez, why is he here, kind of thing. I felt it. I could tell. I mean, I could almost feel the energy on different people, and it seems to get more fine-tuned as you get older. I do know. But yes, I have a theory, though. A lot of times they talk about our empathy, how we absorb empathy. A lot of times I think that we pull in people's emotions, and we feel them, we detect them, and we absorb them. And I also said that I think with trial and error is, as we get to know who we are, we can fine tune our empathy. We have a way of actually harnessing that. In other words, sometimes we have to be able to decipher our emotions from others. A lot of times we absorb them, we think they're ours, and we're just, all of a sudden we walk into an area, or we pass somebody, or we're near somebody, we start getting depressed, and then it ruins our day. I had a video on that, but I think I did have a video where how I described that. I think our empathy works two ways. We absorb energy, okay? We absorb it, we pull it, but we also can project it out. Because I've noticed, like through my own research, and I don't try to research. It's just me living my life. I noticed that I could walk into like a kind of a noisy office. Like at work, this happens all the time, where I walk into like maybe a restaurant, or I go to a bar. I do go to clubs sometime, and I might have a beer at a bar, and I'll sip my beer. I do that. But now what happens is that sometimes I'll go and I'll find myself hearing a loud kind of a place, all of a sudden kind of quiet down as I show up. All I do is sit down, or I walk into a place and I hear things change. Like the presence changes. If that's what you're talking about, yes, I believe that we project out our empathy. I think a lot of it has to do that we, depending on how calm we stay, depending on what's going on inside of us, we can project that out as well. They're like a cause and effect, almost like gears in a, like you get one gear, turns one gear, and then it kind of comes out the other side and it turns another gear the opposite way. You see? Like we're that center gear. And in fact, I think I even put, like, if you look at that video, it's a kind of me holding a hand up, and there's a kind of set of gears in there, and it's basically that. It's called how the effect we put on people. If that's what you're talking about, I mean, I'm just by basic on there, like our aura. Oh, okay. Let me see. You got another one here. Like our aura, just our presence and demeanor. Do you find that addicts? Oh, do you find that addicts, impulsive, and narcissists are attracted to us for these reasons? Yes, I think that, and it also depends on your level. It depends on your level of understanding. And these are very good questions. I'm glad you brought this up. Thank you very much, 13 Rhett. Okay, Rhett. Now, I'm going to explain this. Yeah, I think that, yes, our aura, as I just said, I think a lot of it is cause and effect. I think it's not just absorbing. But as you develop yourself early on in your life, I think being that we're not knowing who we are, we absorb everything and we react to them. We kind of hold them. And narcissists will pick up on that. They will see an empath. They sense a inexperienced empath. They know that energy of somebody that is vulnerable. Absolutely, and they're drawn to that. Early on in my life, I was one of those. I think we all been there. But as you develop yourself, as you have wisdom, as you know yourself, and as you develop and as you get older, yeah, you start actually changing that polarity in a sense. You know, instead of it being a magnet, you're actually projecting it out. Like I said, the polar opposites of a magnet, you have the way of changing it. You can draw and change it out. You have control of this aura, as you said. So, honestly, I see narcissist people, and I wouldn't say they avoid me, but I haven't been really bothered by a lot of people lately. I mean, I have a certain demeanor about me, I think, that keeps people away, keeps people thinking twice. And I've said that before. I think it's just the way I've evolved. But yes, I actually think that you're right. But I think, like I said, it's immature, it's inexperienced INFJs, it's empaths that are not in control of who they are, that still know that they don't even know they have this. A lot of times, half our life, we may not know we're empaths. It might take a little bit of fine tuning. It might take somebody like a channel like this in order to find out who you are and realize you have an empathy for you to know how to harness it. And once you start knowing that you are detecting, you are feeling energies, you are picking up on certain emotions, but not absorbing them, but just knowing that you're picking them up. When you get to that level of understanding in your development, this is the first thing on how you know. Now, usually narcissists they can't have really an effect on somebody like that. That's an experienced, knowledgeable empath who knows themselves. And usually at that point, at that level, narcissists will be actually repelled by you. They won't go near you. They'll pretty much know better. I hope that answered something. Yeah. Okay, but that's I think that's it. But like I said, watch that video I said. It was on cause and effect, understanding our cause and effect. I think I explained that. Also, I have a couple of videos, Rhett, if you're interested. It's in the inventory. It's understanding your empathy and understanding your empathy part 1 and 2, where I actually basically talked about that, how you understand and discover through your wisdom as an INFJ, when you finally have harnessed and found out you have this empathy and you fine tune it, and you, like I said, you're able to detect emotions and feel them without actually absorbing them, without them affecting you. Okay, there is a couple of videos on that. There's a guy in the typing space who gave advice for us INFJs to get the loser out of your life. Get the losers out of your life. Oh, okay. The guy in the typing space. Did I miss that? Did I miss that? SN10? Get the losers out of your life. I'm going through that process and it's so helpful. Okay. Okay. Yeah, a lot of times you have to just understand, a lot of times as you get older, especially I've noticed that too, is that I have no tolerance for a lot of toxic people. People that just bring you down. People that are just, a lot of times you can always tell. I mean, people that are negative a lot, they're always, they're just never happy and they're hoping that their energies kind of rub off on you and things like that. And as you get older, I've noticed that the more you're complete in your soul, when you don't need people like that anymore, a lot of times our vulnerability is the fact that we need people. The fact that we are still alone. We feel lonely. We feel that void in our heart. And a lot of times, we might want friendship. We might want a relationship based on that. And we're going to be more vulnerable because now we need people. We need a certain void in our heart to be filled because we have that incompletion. And of course, as INFJs, we are vulnerable in some ways because we have that sadness and that depression a lot. And a lot of times we think somebody's going to save us. Somebody's going to come along and be our friend and give us attention and give us some support, a relationship, a girlfriend, or somebody in our life. And but right away, they can sense that you need them, and they have an advantage over you. They have a certain pull on you when you're needed, or when you need somebody for that reason to fill a void in your heart, and they'll exploit that. Human nature will exploit that. Women do that to men all the time. Listen, I think men do that to women too, but a lot of times you'll see women. Now, I'm not cutting women down, but I mean, a lot of times, I've had girlfriends do that to me in the past where they know a man has a certain weak spot for her. He needs her to complete him. He doesn't feel like a whole man unless he has a girlfriend or a wife in his life. And a lot of times, wives will exploit that, and they'll take advantage of a man like that. What they really want is a man that doesn't need her, not like in that way. A man that has found himself. A man is secure within himself. A woman too. Men and women, we need this security in our hearts. And if that answers your question, then yes. So by getting the losers out of your life, if you don't need those losers, you get people that just try to, drag you down in a way, but they're there to kind of, they're going to offer you, like a narcissist will come in, like they kind of act like they're relating to you. A lot of times that's how the narcissist might work. They come into your life and they start feeding off the energy. They'll start kind of mirroring you in the beginning. They'll start making you feel like they relate to you. They understand you. They may even stoop to conquer. I don't know if you ever heard of that maneuver, the stoop to conquer, where somebody actually, bows almost figuratively, over compliments, over graces you, over loves you. Like women do this to a man, early on. Oh, you're so handsome, you're so great, you're so this, you're so that. And then all of a sudden a man may get enamored by her love and her beauty. And all of a sudden he kind of loses himself a little bit. And then he may become like overly obsessed with her. And then all of a sudden the real her comes out. The real her may come out. Now, I'm not picking on women, but a lot of times women do this to a man in these relationships. And I've had this happen to me. But a man that's complete in his soul, he's not going to let this happen to him because he's found himself and he doesn't need that. He doesn't. And not only that, the more you are, when you're complete in your soul, your education, your knowledge, and you fine tune your whole aura about you, your whole your whole essence of who you are. Not only are you stronger and you don't need this, you don't pine for somebody to fill you, but you also have an advantage because you see them deeper. You've actually entered another level of your senses are sharper, your empathy is sharper, your mind is sharper, your intellect is way sharper, and you see through people much easier at that point as well. So yes, exactly. To get the losers out of your life, I'm going through that process, and it's so helpful. Okay, well, yeah, make sure. But that's what it's all about. Make sure you're complete in your own heart, so you don't need these losers in your life. Okay? I hope that helped. I hope that helped out a lot, people. Good gosh, I can't believe it's getting to be that time. My gosh. Well, I tell you, did everybody have a great? Has everybody had a good time here with this live? I mean, I have. I mean, it's getting to a, it's kind of winding down a little bit, but that's okay. I'm glad everybody joined here like we did, and so. But as far as like moving forward with the channel up to this point here, I have some plans. A lot of it entails, I got to come up with better ways of having video. Eventually, I want to have better video graphics and things like that. I like to do maybe some reaction videos. I got to find out some copyright laws, infringements, and things. I'd like to do some videos where, you ever see those reaction videos? You get the face in there, and I might show like maybe a 30-second clip of a video. I'd like to use other content, like maybe Wennis. I mean, there's some other INFJ videos that are big. There's some, I mean, I'm a small fry right now. But there's some, like, you got Frank James, FJ. He's got all them funny videos, but he's still very, very wise in some of the things. And I'd like to think I could borrow bits and pieces of some of his videos, especially something like he might make a comment. And so I'd like to just like do reaction things like that and fill in and do my own commentary, kind of like I'm doing now, on just a certain point that they have. And then there's, these are some of the ones that I like a lot. And then, of course, there's Jay Scott. He's the Inner Circle guy. He's another one that I think is really helped me out a lot. But he offers a lot of insight and things like that. There's another guy from England, Love Who. Have you ever heard of him? He's an older guy. He's like one from about 5 years ago. I don't think he puts out a lot of material now, but he's got a British accent. But he's very very smart, things like that. But I'd like to take, my bottom line is I want to take some of their content if I can and comment on it. But I got to know the legal rights for it. How long? Sometimes you get these copyright things. You can only show a certain clip, certain level of a clip, and then you have to comment on it to add your own copyright to it and things like that. But so those are some of the things I'd like to do in the future, is as far as that goes. But again, I have a lot to learn. But up until then, though, I'd like to do these lives. I enjoy doing these lives for sure. And but also I'd like to do, of course, just keep up on videos. Just keep putting out content. That's why I'm asking about different things on videos and things like that. So some of those things I may have covered about about what you were asking for before, the bifolds, okay, Rhett. I mean, maybe it goes a little deeper than that about the cause and effect people have. But like I said, if you want, Rhett, if you're still out there, I recommend those 2 videos, or the 2 or 3 videos if you see those. But there's quite a few in the inventory. I covered different things. I mean, gosh, altogether I have quite a few. I tried to cover a lot of different aspects from different things about the INFJ thing is going that way. All right. Well, anyway, that's what I got going forward. So people, thank you so much. It's 9 o'clock. I can't believe I've been here 3 hours. Oh my gosh. People, you still stuck around. Okay, right now, I have currently 5 of you out there. Hello, 5 of you. Altogether, I have 32 views. Okay. Currently, there's 5 of you right here still. And good night, Tom. Take care. Good night, everyone. Until next time. Oh, thank you, Kim. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to be wrapping this up here pretty soon, people, only because time constraints are just doing that. Other than that, gosh, I feel like I could be out here another hour, but I know we all got to go do something, right? We've been here long enough. Well, people, I want to thank you so much for showing up. You really make my night. I just want to tell you, too, people, you are this channel. As I said before, you're the whole backbone of this whole channel, and I appreciate all you do. Just being there. Just being there, supporting, watching my videos, watching our videos is what we need, is what we do. And hopefully I was helpful today. I hope I said things that were inspiring. And until next time, I want to do it again. But sometimes I like to keep this same. Oh, all right. Okay, are you talking? Oh, great answer. Oh, TY TY. Is that somebody else? Is that me? Oh, is that about the? Okay, is that about the losers? About losing the losers? Okay, maybe that's what that was about. Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you so much for showing up. You are the backbone of this channel, I tell you. So, like I said, I'm gonna put out a couple more videos out, and I just have to keep be consistent. And all I can do is just get better with the technology. But I do eventually want to have my subscription total grow and the channel grow as it is. It's slowly chugging away. It's growing, and that's all I can ask for is that the channel just grows as it is. That's all. Okay. Well, all right. Okay, there's four of us. Okay, this is the wind down time. Well, people, thank you so much again. I'm going to have to sign off here. I appreciate you all stopping by. And until the next time, everybody, all right? Let's all say it together. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day into the night. I just added that. Okay, people. Thank you again. All right, until next time. Thanks.